Recently, it seems like JoJo Siwa has been escaping karma a little bit more. We've seen JoJo Siwa take a more step of a more honest approach on her TikTok, and there's way less obnoxiousness and potentially a bit more sincerity. Today we're going to go through a few TikToks, and I just want to wish everyone a fantastic 2025. I hope everyone's having a great time. Thank you guys for tuning in and all that good stuff. And it's very interesting to see on JoJo Siwa's TikTok, it seems like the tides of opinion are changing on JoJo Siwa once more. But just before we jump into that, let's look at this lovely little Valentine's Day video JoJo Siwa did for their partner.
Oh my god.
Aw, well ain't that cute? And the comments seem to think so as well. Wait, this is actually so cute, help. Nah, I don't get it why she gets hate. She's so cool sometimes, for real. For real. You guys just don't understand her. Jojo, they could never make me hate you. Love this. Charlie says, your switch up is crazy. It's so interesting. It's so interesting how everything has shifted. Still sticking on a higher note, we see JoJo Siwa incorporating some drumming and actually like playing drums live. And I think this is the first time I've ever seen JoJo Siwa perform live with drums. It's actually pretty good. I've tried my fair share of drumming, like a little tiny bit, you know, just on other drum kits. And like when you just think you can just hop on a drum kit and just like, you know, just start playing, you can't. It does take practice, and it does take some sort of hand-eye coordination and rhythm that I need to acquire. But again, we have so many positive comments. Literally, never seen a JoJo video with no hate comments until now. I didn't know JoJo could play drums. Well, if you stick around, we'll find out a bit more about JoJo Siwa's drumming. As a drummer, this hits hard. As a musician, I'll say the drums, they're hitting. I've got them playing out the speakers. I couldn't help but get a little boogie on. Josie says, I've said this before and I'll say it again, she's actually super talented. And I think that at this point, I feel like that's undeniable. JoJo Siwa does have talent. But if you're enjoying this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help out so much on this channel. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. JoJo Siwa made her fame by first appearing on the old TV show Dance Mums, and then JoJo Siwa quickly became a household name, amassing tons of fame, known for her very vibrant personality and signature style, usually accompanied by some oversized bows, and it's where she made her transition to YouTube, where her internet stardom skyrocketed and cemented her status as an internet sensation. And this allowed her to amass a fortune of millions before turning 20 years old, and now, as JoJo Siwa approaches adulthood, we see her attempts to ditch her childlike brand image and rebrand herself as a more mature entertainer. This has sparked considerable controversy as we see these growing pains take place, and her rebrand has seen her adopt behaviors which starkly contrast her old self, leading to a very polarized perception and raising many questions about how we perceive kids who have grown up in the industry and where that leaves their sanity. And on top of that, something that I want to get into, we see that JoJo Siwa has copied their merch from the famous band Tool. Now, if you're not aware who Tool is, they're this cool band. I was very surprised to see this crossover happen, but we'll get into that later. So without further ado, let's just jump into JoJo Siwa's TikTok and see what's going on. So now we see these amazing dance moves, which again, I would definitely not be able to do. So I'm not even going to attempt to critique it. All I know is that JoJo Siwa has been trained for this their whole lives and has far more experience than I do for me to basically be shutting this down. So if you would want to learn how to do this dance move, then fear not, because JoJo Siwa has uploaded a tutorial, funnily enough, so perhaps I will learn some dancing skills and will be taking the stage by storm sometime soon. All of this is as promotion for JoJo Siwa's new single called Guilty Pleasure, where a new music video has been released, so I'm sure we'll get into that later as well. But on the run-up to this new single, JoJo Siwa has gone completely ham on the promotional aspect of it all, and really pulled no stops in promoting this song in every single TikTok that she has posted. Guilty Pleasure coming out on July 12th. I'm so excited! First of all, that's a lot of shouting. I can hear the grazing in the vocal cords. You might want to preserve your voice for the upcoming tour, JoJo, but that's just a suggestion, just a minor suggestion. You can see JoJo C was very excited for the upcoming EP and the upcoming singles. I'm sure there will be no controversy ahead.
Balance, baby! All coming out! Mail over! There's a music video for Guilty Pleasure all on July 12th. I am so happy.
So there you go, July 12th. It was built up to be a massive day for JoJo Siwa. So let's see the run-up to this esteemed date. Yo, what is up, guys? If you're enjoying this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the support as of late. I really do appreciate it. But enough yapping. Let's get right back into the video, shall we?
And what you wish for? You ready? Here we go. Let's do it. So you are gonna jump out. I'm your guilty. Snap it open. So I'm your guilty.
I wish I could even attempt this. But my hand-eye coordination is little to zero. So all I'm gonna do is just sit here and watch, and perhaps you might learn something too. So if you want to do some JoJo Siwa dance moves, I am very glad to be able to bring you this.
From here, you're gonna go head, shoulder, drop. So I'm your guilty. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna pick up your right arm and right leg, swipe it down, other side, swipe it down. That's the fun step.
I will say, JoJo's informative tone here has me believing that, you know, maybe I do have a chance at doing this. I will say JoJo Siwa has a very clear way of teaching dance, so I'm gonna have to give props to that, you know what I mean?
I'm your guilty. 1, 2, 3, swipe it down, swipe it down. From there, big old grandel jump, get those legs up in the air. Boom, you say boom, boom, from there, you're gonna go back, double back.
What I see here is a lot of energy, and definitely I will say, if you're going to critique JoJo Siwa's dance moves, you know, you got to first understand that dance isn't easy for the uninitiated. You know, you have to remember so many different things in tandem, in together, and then match it to the beat of the song. So I can only commend this.
So you say, I'm your guilty pleasure, swipe, swipe, bam. Hey, I'm your guilty. You do double, you're gonna go ronde-jump, ronde-jump. A ronde-jump is basically sweep the floor with your right foot, sweep the floor with your left foot.
Gosh, there's so many technical terms. This is called a round-the-shop, round-the-shop, round-the-shop. And then you gotta come in. I'm not even gonna try.
Praying hands, go shoulder, shoulder. From here, you're gonna smack yourself twice. 1, 2. Use my right hand. Don't hit yourself.
I was gonna say, don't go around smacking yourself. It's not a good look.
Don't hit yourself hard. I've done it too many times. Don't do it, trust the process. 1, 2, you're gonna go to the right first, you're gonna open up, then to left, open up. So you just said, boom, back, 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 ronde, smack, smack, open, open. You're gonna bring it all together.
I'm already lost. Wait, just to prove how hard this is, let me just do this off instant memory, and I'll show that retaining these dance moves in your mind is a little bit difficult. Okay, so let's see if I'm anywhere close. That's all I can remember. So the fact that JoJo Siwa can pull this off on stage and choreograph other people and teach it, you know, that's a worthwhile skill. And I love seeing this behind the scenes sort of stuff, especially in the industry and all that jazz. And I applaud the fact that JoJo Siwa is willing to try and teach people. I feel like this is the side of JoJo Siwa that a lot of people don't really see, and what JoJo Siwa's fans probably want to see.
Run, 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 out. From here, you're gonna go. One, you're gonna step a left.
There's so many things to remember. I don't even know if you guys understand how difficult this is. There's so many things. And it's for like such a short amount of time, but there's so many moves.
From here, you're gonna go to the left and bend down, to the right, bend down.
Oh, it carries on. It keeps going. It keeps going. I challenge anyone to do this. I challenge anyone to just try this out.
Double up. So you're going left, right, double up. Boom. You do run, 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 run. Come and right, left, up, and left, and hey.
I see all the time people critiquing JoJo's like, oh, this dance move or whatever. But before you try to critique the amount of effort that goes into choreographing something like this, just give it a go. Just give it a go and then upload your results.
I'm your guilt, I'm your guilt, I'm your pray that ish out, head down.
I'm so lost. I am so lost.
Kicking while your hand is flicking. Kick, kick, all the way till 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so let me count every single move that I see. Let's just see. Let's just see how complex this really is. Okay, so I counted like over 27 moves, and I'm not even going to try to attempt that. But yeah, well done, JoJo, and I'm sure that's very informative for people who can actually dance. Unlike me, again, zero hand-eye coordination. I would never be able to do anything like this. Coming up next, we have JoJo Siwa with some explanations about her new tattoos, which are linked to her new EP release. So let's just take a look and get an explanation.
Figured now would be a good time to explain this tattoo that I got. So long story short, the Guilty Pleasure music video has these 4 different worlds, right? It has Zoltar, teddy bear, construction, and of course...
We love the world building. We love the world building. The world building, I can admire. I have seen the video, and I will say, I was pondering upon like, oh, what does this even mean? Like, how are these scenes connected? And then at the end, it shows all of these scenes in a guilty pleasure house.
Sure. I pulled the costume so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. We got the teddy bear costume, right? And so therefore, that's what the teddy bear on this tattoo represents. And then what happened on my 21st birthday is I wore this construction vest and
So this looks all fine. This looks all, you know, in tandem. It looks like, oh, you know, well done, JoJo Siwa, for the branding. You know, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. What's wrong with this? You know, I pose the question to you. What is wrong with this? Well, we'll find out in a second, because when I looked in the comments for this thing, expecting, you know, not really much criticism, I stumbled upon something that really perked my ear up.
this became a massive thing that people talk about, which some may call a guilty pleasure. That is why there is the construction world in the music video, and that's why this little teddy bear's got a construction vest on. Next, the teddy bear's got some goggles on. These are the goggles it's inspired by. These are goggles I wear in the Zoltar inspired booth, the ticket booth. Last, but certainly not least. Oh god.
I'll also commend the costume design. I like the wings. It looks pretty cool. Also, nice studio as well. Yeah, what's wrong with this? What is wrong with this?
So basically, this massive tattoo that I got is completely inspired by my new music video, Guilty Pleasure. Comes out on July 12th at midnight if you are on the East Coast. Comes out July 11th, 9 o'clock p.m. if you are on the West Coast. Anyways, that's the me.
Okay, just a little innocent bit of world building. Let's just take to the comments and see what the public are saying. And this is where I started to get a little bit confused, because I'm like, why are these guys here? Tool fans, where are you? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And we have, what's your favourite Tool album? Do you prefer Maynard's work with a perfect circle? And here we have someone saying, I hope Tool sues your ass. And I'm just getting a little bit confused. I'm like, wait, how are JoJo Siwa and Tool connected? And I didn't see any mention of Tool in that TikTok video. What's going on? So of course, I took to Google and I found this article. Uploaded on July 12th, the same date as JoJo Siwa's music video release. Tool fans are outraged over JoJo Siwa's new merch. And as we see here, clear as day, just a direct rip-off of Tool's logo. Former child star JoJo Siwa has spent this year infuriating various segments of society. In April, she riled up many fans with the laughable suggestion in a Billboard interview that she was creating a new genre, gay pop, which necessitated some damage control. She caught flack from Kiss fans for her stage makeup that clearly resembled the rock band's iconic look, though Gene Simmons said she looked cool. Now she's angered the Tool fans too. Now, I actually saw Tool a few months ago, actually, and I will say they were amazing live, so good, and this synchronicity was mind-blowing to me. I can't believe that I'm covering this. It really is a shock to the system. A TikTok photo dump last week promoting JoJo Siwa's new single, Guilty Pleasure, included an image of a construction worker vest with the name JoJo printed onto the wrench. This week, it came to the attention of the Tool fanbase, who noted that it looks remarkably like the phallic wrench logo seen on the cover of Tool's 1991 demo EP, 72826, as well as the t-shirt that is still available on their shop. It was designed by Cam DeLeon, who later took the band to court over his composition for a range of design work. Tool won the lawsuit in 2015. Looking at the two images side by side above, yeah, pretty damn similar. We're gonna have to render a verdict of all guilty, no pleasure. And I will say, the evidence there is pretty damning, and this is the problem that I was sort of touching on last week's video, where I was saying, you know, the people around JoJo Siwa, yeah, it might be JoJo's final decision to release this merch or use this design, but the people around her can still influence suggestions and pose design ideas that aren't completely original and may detract from the brand that JoJo's trying to build. And I'm sure JoJo is all for being unique, but doing stuff like this, which is, you know, it's undoubtedly a cool logo. That's probably why the designer of JoJo Siwa's merch picked it. But to completely steal it, and I'm sure JoJo Siwa has no idea who Tool is, unless she does. But I really doubt it. I really think this is someone who is either above her or below her in the sort of merch design department. And yeah, this is just really unfortunate. And apparently, Tool fans aren't that forgiving, and we see that they're already starting to come for JoJo Siwa. Although, for some reason, I sincerely doubt that we'll get any public statement from the lead singer of Tool or anything like that. I feel like this kind of thing is probably beneath them, and they probably don't care about what JoJo Siwa's doing. I'm sure it'll be something that will be sorted out more under wraps and more behind the scenes. I don't know. I wonder if it will go to a lawsuit or something. But yeah, the evidence is pretty damning there. And I just hope JoJo Siwa has words with her merch design team, because stuff like this slipping through the cracks, it is, again, very unfortunate. But luckily, to take our mind off of all of that, we've got more tattoo explanations.
Currently on a road trip right now, but we are stopped at a stop, so I figured now would be a great time to answer this. I have 6 We're currently on a road trip right now, but we are stopped at a stop, so I figured now would be a great time to answer this. I have 6 tattoos now. Got this one on my left hand. It is my old logo with the date that Boomerang was released. My right hand, I got my new logo with the date that Karma was released. Then on my right forearm, I got my Karma Beast eyes. The back of my right forearm, I got 417 with a billion under it, and that is because Boomerang was the 417th video on YouTube to ever hit 1 billion views, so I got that in honor of that. Behind my ear here, I got 1031. That's because that's how many days DREAM, the tour, my first concert tour, lasted. And then
a lot of tattoos. You know, once you got the money, I'm sure you could just splash out and get loads of tattoos. I wish I had that amount of money to get more and more and more tattoos that are unique and personalized to me. It is very nice to see JoJo Siwa create this world and like to use their imagination and to build on something and to take things that are meaningful to her and turn them into symbols and allow people to resonate with this world that JoJo Siwa is building. And again, I commend it. I commend it.
Now this doesn't make sense right now, but it will eventually. It's a teddy bear wearing the construction vest, wearing the Zoltar glasses with the Angel of Darkness wings. This is after Guilty Pleasure, the new music video that comes out in a week. Get ready.
And all of this hype still being built for the Guilty Pleasure music video, I will say JoJo Siwa is very proficient at marketing herself and doing things that do garner attention. And again, like we discovered in our previous video, we understand that JoJo Siwa feels like this is all they know. And, you know, it seems like if these are the results that you want to get, and you want the numbers and you want the attention and you want this brand image to be built and curated, then JoJo Siwa has gone down the path to be able to do that.
I'm your guilty pleasure.
Costume design on point, but whoever designed that merch and stole from Tool, oh, I do worry about what's going to happen there. So let's take a look at the fateful day where this Tool construction merch actually made its debut, because I was watching this and I thought, this is a very interesting way to spend your time at Disneyland.
My first drink. No, I've had a Sunny D vodka. My first drink's in Italy. That's amazing.
Happy birthday!
So as we can see here, the team is quite extensive, you know, I'm not sure which one to pin the blame on for the stolen merch ideas. Again, it seems like JoJo Siwa is really taking this as a way to show that she's moved on from the kid brand and stuff, and now she's drinking alcohol at Disneyland, which is quite confusing, but we'll continue.
Happy birthday, girl!
I'm JoJo. This is my second drink in America. Woo! I'm JoJo. This is my second country, but my fifth drink of the day.
I wonder if the wrench symbol is on the back of that specific construction top that JoJo's wearing there, or I wonder if it was sort of an afterthought that happened after this event. I do assume that they are all friends of JoJo, but if this is an insight as to maybe the size of JoJo's management team or the people that manage JoJo's different departments that she would need managing at that size, of being that size an artist, I would like to perhaps get some more transparency, and I wonder if this situation with the Tool logo will cause JoJo Siwa to be a little bit more transparent about who runs the design team of her merchandise.
I'm JoJo Siwa, and this is my 8th and 9th drink. We're in China! It's my 9th drink.
I did not know that alcohol was this accessible at Disneyland. That's something new that I've learned. And there we go, the signature dance move, and it is so interesting because the drinking age over here is like 18 and the drinking age over there is like 21. So seeing this, you know, I guess, you know, you kind of want to go all out if it's your 21st birthday and you're finally allowed to legally drink, but doing it in Disneyland, again, my mind is just like, like, if you don't want people to see you as this, like, child star, you know, making their transition into adult entertainment or whatever, then why are you doing this at Disneyland? Why?
I'm JoJo Siwa, and this is my 10th drink inside Epcot. That's good. Number
Too many.
12, 11. Tyler, is this 11 or 12?
With you, who knows?
Siwa, and this is my at least 13th drink.
Margarita?
I'm JoJo Siwa, and this is my 14th.
That's a lot of drinks, and I assume a lot of money. Again, this isn't the kind of example that you want to be setting for your young fans, even if it is your 21st birthday. You know, it's going a bit overboard here.
All of my babysitters are fired. Let me get a 14th drink of me tequila.
You don't need to do nothing.
I like her. My 13th drink in Epcot. We're in Mexico.
A tequila shot in a wine glass. Oh wow, yeah, no, the babysitters aren't doing a good job.
That's a cracking effort. Whoa!
Get in the drop. I'm JoJo Siwa. This is number 15 in Epcot.
Smash it.
Whoa! Number 15 is amazing. I could pull it together if I needed to. I'm JoJo and I forgot to do it, but this is my 15th drink, baby. I'm JoJo Siwa. This is my second drink. Born Italy, France. French press up against my chest, oh wee wee. I'm JoJo Siwa, and this is my 17th and 18th drinking now.
I really don't know what to say. This is more than I could handle drinking for sure. I mean, to be fair, they are like just a few sips. We haven't seen like these drinks actually being sunken, but you know, I can only imagine that, yeah, I don't know if JoJo's putting any of this on, but it is a very odd location to choose. I will reiterate that point. I don't think I'd be able to do this in Disneyland, surrounded by a bunch of kids who are at Disneyland.
That's amazing. That's scary. I like them both. You can take this one. Aussie, then they would scream, oi. Should we try it? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Aussie!
Okay, we got one.
No. We're changing you. No. I'm JoJo Siwa. This is number 19. Can I have a bite of that?
Yeah, you can have it.
Just a bite.
You want the rest? No? Good game.
And there we have it, JoJo Siwa's 21st birthday celebrations, featuring the construction work top to promote her new single. And another video that features this construction work top is an interview that JoJo Siwa has done following the release of the Guilty Pleasure music video. Let's take an in-depth look at JoJo Siwa reflecting on her journey to what has got her here.
That the world right now is watching every move I make with the most critical eye. And I think something that I'm really grateful for is I don't give
As much as JoJo Siwa reiterates that she doesn't give an F and all that kind of stuff, I will say that must not be easy to feel that way, to feel like the whole world is watching you with that kind of critical eye, as she said. And I have no idea what kind of effect that would have on someone's psyche. To see this path and to see what JoJo Siwa is going down and how breakneck speed it is, I'll just reiterate that perhaps JoJo Siwa should take some caution and some measures to make sure that she is surrounded by the best people and not surrounded by people that are gonna enable certain destructive behaviors, because at the end of the day, the industry still makes a profit out of that story as well.
Be looking back at some of the moments that have shaped my career and my identity. This is becoming JoJo Siwa. 9 years old, my first TV show, I was a peanut. It like makes me emotional. You don't even know what you got yourself into there. Now you're stuck, kid. It's interesting because I didn't really realize that I didn't have a normal childhood until my childhood was over, if that makes sense. Cause
yeah, that's insane. It's like, I remember being 9 years old and looking at everyone on the TV and thinking that if you could make it on the TV and you had a chance in anything, like any sort of child game show or all that kind of stuff, it felt like, oh, you'd be rich, you'd be set up, and like it was sort of made out to be that fame was the answer to everything. And then I guess living it as a kid, it must be a completely different world.
Kids are so naive. You don't really know what's happening. And I think at the like very end of my childhood, so like 16, 17, I was like, wait a second. This is what high school was like for you? What? That's not what high school was like for me. I feel like it really shaped me to be who I am. I don't wish it was any different. I realized that there was stuff that I missed out on or stuff that I didn't get to do or stuff that was different for me, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
She deserves to be on the pyramid. She was in the group dance.
She deserves nothing.
Oh yeah, I love this clip.
I didn't have an inkling as to the harshness that these children were submitted to on this show Dance Moms. That is horrible. Just from that like 2-second clip to see that's the way JoJo Siwa was spoken to, that must have been scarring. To even be in the presence of someone, like they might not be talking to you, but to have someone like say, you deserve nothing, and to scream it as like an adult, that must like ingrain itself within you, and for it to be documented and played millions of times. Wow, I just feel sorry for JoJo at this point.
Because I feel like people see dance moms, right? And they're like, oh, Abby's such a mean dance teacher. Abby's just a realistic dance teacher. She is representation of a lot of dance teachers in the world. It's the competitive dance world especially is not the healthiest environment. And I always say you're either a good dancer or you're healthy. You can't be both. That's sad. It shouldn't be like that. And there's a lot of teachers that aren't like that. But growing up, I mean, Abby was, believe it or not my toughest, hardest dance teacher. I mean, I came in.
That almost sounds to me like slight denial in a sense, because to anyone outside of the entertainment industry growing up, like that just seems horrible. And I feel like that kind of attitude or that demeanor taken against children just shouldn't be normalized in any kind of sense. I don't even think that teachers in schools should be able to talk to kids in that kind of manner. And for JoJo Siwa to believe like that's kind of normalized and like all dance teachers are kind of like that, I think that might be a systemic problem with dance teachers as a whole, not something that JoJo Siwa should have been subjected to because it's normal.
Being a fan of Abby, I knew what I was getting myself into, and I was like, please yell at me. Like I kind of liked it. Even like,
and that's just another sad statement to like have to rewire or change that in your brain when you could visibly see that JoJo was upset in that clip, and to have to like basically redesign what happened in your past to move forward with these types of people. I just think that's a horrible situation for JoJo Siwa to have been put in.
It's cool to me that Boomerang is still as successful as it was when it came out, if not more successful. I mean, the fact that it grows so much a day, it's truly that like haters gonna hate. They can keep talking that talk, but I'm gonna keep watching.
It seems evident to me that JoJo Siwa keeps defaulting to the phrase that like haters gonna hate. Oh, F the haters. I don't care what the haters say. But at the same time, brushing off any critique of how she was treated in her past or how the industry has molded her, and she's had to rework it as only a good thing in her mind to again continue making the moves that she makes. And I'm kind of scared that all of this pressure is going to build up into something where we'll see JoJo Siwa break and then have to put the pieces back together herself, because it's clear that she has a team around her that doesn't really have her best interests at heart and is willing to even release merchandise that is completely stolen from another band. And I wonder what other things have sort of slipped through the cracks in a sense of dodgy management.
Honestly, right after I came out, getting the ask to be a part of Dancing with the Stars was massive. Getting to be the first same-sex couple, I don't think I at the time necessarily realized what that was going to do for the world or the impact that that was going to have, but it truly was. It was one of the first times that
I'm sure we've seen same-sex dancers before JoJo Siwa, like to be like, oh, I didn't know what that would do for the world. I mean, I'm sure it is amazing and very difficult to dance like that, but perhaps it did have a crazy impact on the world. Let me know if you were impacted by this feature.
The world as a whole actually really appreciated me on social media, I guess is a good way to put it. I mean, the world saw me daily on social media, but with Dancing with the Stars, it was kind of a flip. People were tuning in weekly to see what Jenna and I were going to do.
It is very interesting that JoJo Siwa keeps emphasizing that it's the world that is looking at me and the world is being very critiqueful of what I'm doing and all this kind of stuff. And it must be a very intense mind state to operate in when you feel like the whole world is looking at you under a magnifying glass, when like I wouldn't say that's particularly true in the sense where it's the whole world. It's probably a large amount of population from each place, but to continuously think it's the whole world against me, I can only imagine what that would end up doing to JoJo Siwa's psychological health. And perhaps someone needs to sit JoJo Siwa down and be like, it's okay. It's not everyone. It's, it's just, your demographic and the people that we're marketing to.
I love Karma so much, but it's so bad compared to my new stuff. I hate now that I shade Karma so much.
And that's only natural for artists to sort of look at their previous works with a bit more disdain, but I will say this. I've had Karma stuck in my head ever since I made that first JoJo Siwa video. I won't lie, whoever wrote it or whatever, it's just been a complete earworm and it's just been stuck in my head and I want it out. I want it out now. But yeah, it is a well-written song, but it is very normal for artists to look back on previous works with slight disdain over time, but then eventually eventually you look back on your previous works, like JoJo looks back on Boomerang with, you know, a bit more optimism. And I can only guess that eventually JoJo Siwa will look at Karma in a few years with that same optimistic outlook.
Looking back and comparing it to Guilty Pleasure, comparing it to Choose Your Fighter, it's not even on the same playing field. We knew back in the day that visually, people liked my bows, people liked my crazy outfits, people liked when I danced, they liked when I performed, they liked my music videos, they liked my stories, they liked that. And so we didn't know if that was going to translate into an adult world. But then if you look at what was successful about Karma, it was the dance from the music video, the makeup and costume from the music video. I mean, even like the me coming out of the water in the music video, like those moments from the music video are what hit. And so it was really tried and true to me that like, no, I really am visual and people really do crave visuals from me as an entertainer, as an artist. And so here I am to keep providing them.
That's very interesting to get a more professional insight into how JoJo Siwa conducts themselves as a brand now. And I will say that's true. You know, I only know JoJo Siwa for the dance moves and for the crazy looks and all this kind of stuff, and to see that JoJo Siwa understands that, it's probably a positive thing. You know, lean into your talents, lean into what you're good at, and clearly JoJo Siwa is a talented dancer. I think where many people's gripes, it comes from doing things that don't seem natural to JoJo Siwa, or doing things that seem pre-packaged, or doing things that seem like they're curated by upper management and not directly coming from JoJo Siwa herself, like certain packaged songs, or like certain things like the Tool merchandise. And I assume that there have been a bunch of other things that haven't been completely up to JoJo Siwa. I feel like we'll get her best work when she realizes that people just want to resonate with the person that they're listening to. They don't want it to seem like an alien or something. They want someone that they can relate to.
Paul back in the day used to do this thing, and he taught me this. He would run with whatever was working, and that's with Karma, you know, what was working. All of a sudden, the teasers were working, so I was like, oh, fuck that, I'm gonna keep teasing, right? Oh, me being a lunatic is working. I'm gonna keep being a lunatic, but be even crazier. Oh, the makeup's working. Let's do more with the makeup. Oh, the dance is working. Let's do the dance more.
And that's a very dangerous path to go down, to just be like, oh, this is working, so let's just keep doing this, or this is doing this, let's just keep doing this, or like, people think I'm a loony, let's just keep being a lunatic. That kind of path, I understand where, you know, you might release teasers and then the teasers do well and you want to just keep doing that formula because it works. But when you let the audience dictate your personality and dictate how you behave, I think that's a very dangerous path, because you don't want to lose yourself, and then you also want to retain your sanity, and to have the audience dictate whether you act like a lunatic or not seems a bit off to me.
And so for me, it was really important to kind of follow what was working, but then also not let the world decide what worked at the same time, making sure that I'm giving the world what I want them to want, if that makes sense. It's less about, you know, having a hit song, but more about having a hit career, giving people something to look at, turn their head at.
It's always the world. It's always the world. I feel like JoJo has a core audience, or a core fan base, or a core support group, or whatever you want to call it. And I feel like if JoJo Siwa narrowed down on that, and narrowed down on her core fan base, instead of trying to exuberant themselves to the world, I feel like we might see a much more healthy path and a healthy outlook from JoJo Siwa, where she isn't so preoccupied as to what the world or the earth as a whole is thinking, and more so what her core audience and fan base, you know, want and love her for.
I know, considering I only got basically one vocal cord instead of two, that I don't have the vocal chops to just be able to stand there and sing, but I know that I can put on a show and entertain and do a little bit more. He did the damn thing. Oh, this new EP, get ready. There is so many whack visions that I had to fight to make come to life, but I made them happen, and I am so happy. I think that the world right now is watching every move I make with the most critical eye. And I think something that I'm really grateful for is I don't give a
the world is watching me. The world is watching me. At this point, I do feel sort of sorry for JoJo Siwa. It's like she's blissfully unaware of how that sort of mind state and that impending nature of thinking that the world is either for you or against you, or this is what the world wants, this is what the world needs, when it's really specifically her demographic that her team has marketed towards, and the fan base that she is specifically marketed towards and the audience in different countries, you know, like a specific group of people in each country. It's not the world as a whole. And I think like this overarching word of the world that JoJo Siwa keeps using, I feel like it touches on something here that I'm definitely not qualified to examine, but it is interesting nonetheless.
Fascinating to watch us dance together. Me and Madison have great chemistry. Me and Diego have great chemistry. But watching me with a boy for the first time, and I think that's what it was, is like for a boy for the first time, we were like, that oddly looks really flattering. That's very strange. And we also got to see me in the girl's position for the first time, because normally if I'm partnering with a girl, I am the boy in the position. So it's...
Dance with whoever you want, JoJo Siwa. You know, that's all I'll say. Just dance with whoever you want. And I'm sure you'll keep producing lovely, lovely content for us to consume and talk about. So I want to give praise and adoration to JoJo Siwa for doing what JoJo Siwa does, so I can do what I do, because, you know, this keeps the lights on for me. So I'm very thankful for that. And again, I can't shoot the dance or the choreography, but I can only offer advice when it comes to certain things within the music industry, because that's what I have some experience and expertise in. But when it comes to the choreography and the dancing and that type of vibe, I'm like, you know, I'm in awe because I know that I cannot do it. So keep going, JoJo Siwa, and again, dance with whoever your soul desires.
And then there's an ad-lib that says, "You're welcome." And it's a little whisper of "you're welcome." And that is my
researching this topic before we jump into her TikTok, which we're just going to react to for the first time completely blind. There is not much I've ever seen about JoJo Siwa, or even been enticed to even click on about JoJo Siwa. But a video came up on my For You page on Twitter, and it depicted this story, which was absolutely hilarious. This really enticed me to find out more and to really dig my teeth into this topic, because it really seemed like a complete pantomime. It seems like this kind of bizarro world that is like just so foreign and alien to me. I couldn't help but want to know more. So without further ado, let's just look at what JoJo Siwa was up to on TikTok.
This guy commented, and this is a new comment for me. It said, "This man needs to be stopped." They said that to me. And I realized two things. Number one, my is bigger than his.
Already, if you're giving this much energy to one hate comment, you know you're just in too deep. JoJo Siwa, if I could recommend anything, it would be to not voice these comments out loud, because you're just gonna fuel the fire. You're just gonna make more people want to comment stupid stuff like this, and it's not gonna help. It's just gonna amplify whatever you're becoming right now. Please, stop before it's too late, JoJo Siwa, please.
Number two, I more girls than him.
That's not that's definitely not real alcohol. That's definitely not real. That's probably just water. That's probably just water. And the thing is, about the song that's playing in the background, I might have to pitch it down or take it out or something. I also saw a bunch of controversy about how JoJo Siwa doesn't actually write their own songs, and actually is just pitched these songs, these pop bangers, which are very catchy. They're very catchy earworms, I must give her that. But yeah, they're not hers. Probably not even sung by her, which is unfortunate for creativity as a whole. Yo, what is up, guys? If you're enjoying this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Thank you guys for all the support recently. We're staying consistent with the uploads, so stick around. But anyways, enough yapping. Let's get right back into the video, shall we?
Happy Jailbreak Day!
What confuses me, like right off the bat, completely baffles me, is how many people are screaming and cheering and being JoJo Siwa's yes men. I just don't know how we've got to this stage in society where people are cheering this on when it's just such a clear fabrication and it's a husk of anything that music should be, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, that's definitely just a liter of water right there. Like, that's, I can tell we're gonna be in for a ride here.
Happy Dobrik's Day!
So is that like David Dobrik's like restaurant or something? Happy Dobrik's Day? Does David Dobrik now, like, is he in the restaurant business now? Is that what he's had to do ever since smashing Jeff Wittick's face on a crane? Is that really what he's you learn something new every day.
When you choose another, make sure you do it wiser.
Hi, your song saved me. I've been suffering from a severe depression episode when Karma/Choose Your Fighter came out on radio, and I got out of bed for the first time in 3 weeks to turn it off. Initially, when I first was introduced to the topic of JoJo Siwa, which was today, I genuinely just felt sad for this whole story, because seeing this seemingly, innocent child star now be genuinely groomed by the industry as a whole, this Hollywood industry, and sort of be left with this mentality that just leads to these soulless acts of just performatism and sort of pretending that everything's alright. I can guarantee that there is a lot more going on behind the scenes, and especially mentally within JoJo Siwa's head, where JoJo Siwa feels like they have to keep up this performative act. And that's what really saddens me. I feel like you have to start planning your escape. You have to just start putting some money into some assets or something and just get out. Just get out the game while you can. Shout out Cypress Hill. We've got another clip from JoJo Siwa on stage. A message to the haters.
Tell the haters to lick my nuts!
And there's just so many people just like, yay! I don't understand where the audience comes from. Some part of me just feels like everyone there is just paid to be there for some reason, or JoJo Siwa is like the opening act for someone else who's about to come out. This just feels so unbelievable. I'm just so confused. But alas, this is the initial story that caught my eye on my For You page, which I actually thought was kind of hilarious. Let's take a look at what started this whole thing off.
Just out, living my day, getting my little blueberry coffee, having a good time. All of a sudden, I walk past these girls, right? And they don't see me. Their back is towards me. And one of the girls goes, JoJo Siwa's banned, and like laughed. And then they saw me, and then they got up and fucking ran. If you are these girls, what did you say? I don't care. I know you were talking shit. Nothing you say is going to hurt my feelings. But what did you say? Because I am so curious. Also, just so you know, every single person that was sitting next to you told me that you were talking shit and told me that you were embarrassed and ran away. So you might as well fess up now. I'm just out.
From JoJo Siwa's perspective, some girls, they were talking smack and they ran off because JoJo Siwa just happened to walk by. And you can probably understand why JoJo Siwa is so vindicated to post this story and to find out what these girls said and to put them on blast, as per se. Let's take a look at the revelation of this situation, because this is where it gets funny.
How do we start this story time?
Kayla.
Would you like to,
My face is
okay,
bright red.
So to start off, we saw JoJo's, so we're sitting in front of okay, and all of a sudden, JoJo Siwa's Lamborghini drives past us, so we start talking about her. And we start talking about
Oh my gosh. What do they call that? What do they call this? The man spread? The man spread that JoJo Siwa's got right there. Taking up the whole couch. Leave some room for the rest of us.
and all of a sudden, JoJo Siwa's Lamborghini drives past us, so we start talking about her. And we start talking about how...
As one does when their face is all over their car.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, JoJo Siwa has a Lamborghini with their face plastered all over the car. I'm not lying. It's true. JoJo Siwa has a Lamborghini with their face plastered all over the car, which is just completely normal behavior, and I respect it. Fair enough. If you've got the balls to smack your face all over a Lamborghini, to ruin a Lamborghini like that, fair enough. Do what you want with your life. If you got that much money, just whatever. Who cares at this point? JoJo Siwa drives past in this face decorated Lamborghini, JoJo Siwa's face, and these girls just start talking about her. Why not?
Yes.
Okay, we're sitting at a coffee shop and
Yes.
a car drives by with faces all over it.
Yes. And, you know, obviously we're going to start talking about JoJo Siwa. And, like, even the people who were around us were talking about her, too. And so, we're talking about how obviously her publicity works because we're talking about her.
That's
That's
what
what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, she's parked right behind us
Yes,
right now.
yes, she is. And so basically, we're talking, and we keep talking about it, and Kayla.
Well, okay, because we're talking. Basically, Zion and I were saying like it's so smart of her because any bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah,
because-
any press is good press.
And so we're like, honestly, like, I'm not even a big fan of hers. I'm not even like, you know, in the age range of her fans. So it's like valid for me not to be a fan.
Oh, where were we?
Oh, so basically we were saying like any bad publicity is good publicity. So really, she's really smart about it. I'm like, we're talking about her. I'm not even a fan, and that's all we're talking about for the last 10 minutes.
She's got
is JoJo
us
Siwa,
talking
like 5
about
minutes.
her,
Yes.
you know?
And so in my
Yeah, you got it. You got it. You clocked onto it. You clocked onto it. Any bad press is good press. Oh, it's all about just getting the attention. Just getting the attention for my song, my new song that's coming out. The Choose Your Fighter that's playing in the background of every single one of these TikToks. Just download it. Download it. You got it. You got it.
I was just like, no more. Like, we just need to change the topic because this is like the whole point of it. Literally, like, that's what we're talking about.
We're
Is that
doing
her
what
name's
she
in her
wants.
mouth. So I literally yell. I was like, no more JoJo Siwa. She's banned.
Who's walking by?
You can see where JoJo Siwa has the revelation, like, oh, okay, it wasn't actually that bad. Maybe I overreacted. Oh, life being a famous person. Oh.
She points. She doesn't even realize she's walking by. No more JoJo Siwa. She's banned.
And then we look over, and she's right there.
JoJo goes,
And her face turned
and then
bright
her
red.
friend laughed. I don't think her friend was laughing at her. I think she was like, "Whoa!" Like,
Oh my God.
that was bold.
And then everybody sitting outside started laughing.
That's like that classic trope in like all the Disney Nickelodeon films and stuff where it's like, oh, she's behind me, isn't she? I can't believe that actually played out in real life. Like, of course it did.
And then they get up to walk away and they stay. I'm embarrassed. I'm trying to leave. They're just sitting there.
I'm in shock.
Everyone's
I
looking
was
at
in
me.
shock.
Everyone's like, what did you say?
Oh my God. And then we get up and we leave, and she's in the parking lot where we're parked, and she's parked behind us. So JoJo Siwa spotted. Bring out the
It was
ukulele.
out of context. I really didn't mean it like in a hateful way. I just meant it in a way of like, I just need to stop talking about celebrities.
Yeah.
Like, and you were the topic of that conversation because you have just driven by.
Yeah,
and they just
exactly.
walked by.
Like-
and the timing of it
Was horrible.
Like, we were talking about you because like you
we
drove
just
by.
saw
so
you.
out of it was so out of context. And
It wasn't harsh. Yes.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The only part she heard was like the band JoJo Siwa part,
Like,
but that's
I
not what
really-
we
like,
meant.
that's- yeah.
Very
yeah.
bad
Yeah.
timing.
Yes.
Like, probably the worst timing in the world.
Yeah.
I felt so horrible, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, you can tell that these girls actually have a heart and a soul, and they actually feel some kind of remorse for upsetting JoJo Siwa. I'm so glad to see human nature sort of shine through, and to be fair, this is a funny story. And to see that it's almost like these celebrities, they're not as unreachable as you would think. It's like they can cross over into our realm sometimes, so be careful what you say, because it might be heard.
Oh my God. I can't believe we
Miss
live
you
in
all.
LA.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was a bitch. I should have known better. If I had a wish, I would have never effed around.
And there you go. That must be some sort of nice veneration for JoJo Siwa to have there at the end, where they're actually singing her song, and that's nice. That's you know, that's always lifted my spirits. I'm glad that JoJo Siwa was able to see the girls' reaction there and to, you know, get that context without just going about their day thinking, oh my gosh, people want me banned from everything. Oh, and like then further like vindicate her and going down this like, oh, F the haters thing. Yeah, I'm glad that whole story came full circle and was complete there. That's a nice ending. I like that. I like that. Because I'm uninitiated in the whole JoJo Siwa lore, let's get explanation as to why JoJo Siwa has chosen these looks and gone down this path, and hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Tell me about this look here.
This look, this is my Karma Black Beast look. This is my music video outfit. Got to bust it out of the vault today. It's got some rips in it, but you would never know.
No. I mean, how would you be able to tell?
If you
might be able to.
If you looked close enough, yeah.
I mean, you were talking a lot recently about sort of leaving the adolescent era behind and moving into a more adult era. How has that been going for you?
It's been fun. It's been criticized, that's for sure. And
how do you think that is?
Why do you think that is? The interviewer knows exactly what he's doing. That's hilarious. He's like, so why do you think your new era's being criticized? Just like analyzing her fit.
People are afraid of things they don't know. Things can be scary for people. New things can be very, very scary.
New things? I think Kiss were around during like the 1980s or something.
Art is such a special thing, and I'm very lucky that I'm one of the people in the world that gets to create art.
Talk to me about the people who support it, right? Because you're a person, you're a human who is, going to grow and change as you become an adult and mature, and will continue to change hopefully for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the people who get it and what you've heard from them.
Honestly, the way that I'm able to keep going.
I respect this interviewer a lot. He's doing a good job.
And keep being like, wait, actually, what I'm doing is right, is because some of the most respected people in the world have come up to me and been like, what you're doing right now is so right. It is so right. It is what the world needs. Like, I am learning from what you're doing right now, and that's crazy to me. I mean, I heard that from Lil Nas X yesterday.
This is what I mean about these sort of yes men. Really, is what the world needs right now. Is this what the world needs? I'm asking you guys, please let me know. Is this what the world needs? Because I might be out of touch. I might just not be getting it. I might be too old.
Heard it from Megan Trainor a few days ago. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. The support from people like that, artists, that means the world to me.
What lessons are you learning about yourself as you progress on that journey?
Honestly, that I am more fearless than I thought I was. It definitely takes some balls to show up in this.
It does. We've got music coming out soon.
I was just going to echo exactly what the reporter there said. It really does take some balls to show up in what JoJo Siwa is wearing. And it takes some balls to pull up in Lamborghinis with your face plastered all over it. That takes a lot of balls as well.
Yeah.
We do. Karma coming out on April 5th, and then a lot more after that.
Are we touring?
I can't tell you everything.
You can tell me a little bit.
I can give you some teasers, but I can't tell you everything.
All right. I'll take that as like a slight tease,
Don't worry. Touring is my favorite thing ever, and I like to do my favorite thing ever.
Have you thought about what you want it to feel like when you go out? What do you want your show to feel like?
Oh, I pitched the tour.
Is it more like this?
It's full out.
It's like, I can't tell you if I'm touring. Oh yeah, I pitched the tour. You gotta retain some mystery sometimes. You gotta keep some things as a surprise.
Before I let you go, I read that you named your kids Eddie, Teddy, and Freddie.
Yes.
Where did you get those names from? How did you have those names in your back pocket?
Honestly, so Freddie, I've always wanted to name my baby girl Freddie. And then one day I was just joking around and I was like, oh my God, Freddie, Eddie, and Teddy. Wait, it works. So we got Freddie. Somebody brought up to me like, hey, what if your kids hate their rhyming names? And I was like, valid. I need to make sure they got good middle names. So we have Freddie J, Eddie Anthony, and Teddy Tyler. After my mom, dad, and best friend.
Have fun tonight.
Thank
Enjoy.
you.
I was quite scared for a second. I was like, no way, JoJo Siwa has 3 kids already. Well, what's going on? But okay, they're just hypothetical children that don't exist yet. Okay, there's still time to change those names. You might have heard something about this track called Karma. All I have seen on YouTube is this Karma behind the scenes stuff, and if there's anything I want to see, it's behind the scenes. just to get more insight into the inner workings of JoJo Siwa here.
I did some bad things. I swear I did it all for fun and it meant nothing.
Wait, they're footnotes. Wait, I have to read. I actually have to read. Oh, okay, here we go. I had a very young demo growing up, but as I've gotten older, so have they. My job is to create art and let the world decide if they want to enjoy it or not. What does demo? I had a very young demo. What do you mean? Like, do you mean the song? Do you mean like I had a very young song growing up? Oh, I had a very young demo. Someone let me know the lingo. I don't know the entertainment industry lingo. Maybe I'm really out of touch. What does that mean? I had a very young demo growing up. Someone tell me what that means. I just might be an idiot. I just might be. But like maybe JoJo Siwa really is smarter than me and I'm missing the trick here. JoJo blew me away with her ideas for the video. She's influenced by classic artists such as David Bowie and Elton John and were inspired by them throughout the creation of the video, I reckon. I don't know. Oh, throughout the process. From JoJo Siwa herself, I've always used my brain, trusted my heart and gone with my gut. I didn't plan this new era, but I did know that I always wanted it to be a thing. So you've planned it. It's pretty much planning it. If you've always known you wanted it to be a thing, that means you've been planning it. That means you've been thinking about it. You've been thinking about, okay, this is fine. This is fine. It's a very interesting video. I like the way that it's shot. I'm sure this is shocking for people that knew JoJo Siwa before all of this stuff, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's all shock value, isn't it? It's all just trying to shock people, trying to get people to click. It's all about making the money. It's all about making the money. And from what I've researched into this, apparently this was written by a few big artists, and one of them being Timbaland, who of course has his teeth sunk into this as well. Has a little bit of the pie in this. Probably helped with a bit of the production. It's so mad that JoJo Siwa has that connection for their musical endeavors, and I wish JoJo Siwa nothing but the best going forward. I started recording Karma when I was 18. The fun thing is that it hits the top and bottom of my vocal range, so every session was a push, but I loved it. Recording being the key word for that. Recording. Because I've actually heard the original reference track, and they've actually put the original person who wrote Karma and recorded Karma actually put out their version of Karma after JoJo Siwa, and it did better in the charts. I feel like a few of these statements are slightly disingenuous and they're like sort of teetering around the truth of the matter, but I'm sure the recording of the song was a push for sure. Pro tip, never throw yourself off the edge of a moving vessel. Don't do that. That's not a good example to set for the children, is it, JoJo Siwa? Don't do that. Very interesting concept going on here. We shot the underwater sequence in my home pool. I had to heat the pool for a couple of days to make sure it was warm. The weather was really cold that night, so he's got a home pool and he warmed it up. That's an interesting. But how do you warm up a pool for a couple of days? How do you do that? Someone let me know how you heat up swimming pools. I'm really interested to know the process of heating up a swimming pool. That's what I've gotten from this. I didn't realize you could even do that. Wow. I'm perplexed. I really am. Like, do you just like fill it up with like, you just boil the kettle and just keep filling it up, or do you like run the tap like for a couple days? Like, do you have like a heater or something? I don't know, like a waterproof heating device. Very interesting. Very interesting. Then we use the VFX to extend the pool to look like an ocean. I will say, JoJo Siwa is a very talented dancer. Fair enough. Points for that. You know, if you put hours and hours into your craft, you might as well express it. You might as well express it. It's a talent.
End of the day, when you really sit down and deeply think about it, you only get one
life.
After the anticipated release of JoJo Siwa's EP, Guilty Pleasure, there has been a tidal wave of criticism for her latest antics, such as allegedly lying about performing on Eurovision and either her or her team allegedly copyright striking other creators. But if you're just checking in and you're new here and you're wondering who JoJo Siwa is a prominent figure in the entertainment industry, and she rose to stardom and fame at a very young age. This was mainly through the reality TV show Dance Mums, where JoJo Siwa became known for her dazzling bows, her dancing, and her vibrant personality. Then later on, when she started to go into her teenage years, she made the transition to YouTube, where she even made a song which garnered over 1 billion views, and such successes allowed her to amass a fortune over $20 million before she reached the age of 17, which I just completely commend. Well done, JoJo Siwa. Lately, for promotion for her new music and EP Guilty Pleasure, she's made a stark-ditch effort to completely rebrand herself away from all the kids' entertainment she used to be entangled into, and now she's trying to make an effort to market herself allegedly towards more mature audiences. This has led to a very polarized perception on JoJo Siwa as a whole, the entertainment industry as a whole, and what we view as profitable, and also the pitfalls and failures of JoJo Siwa's team. For example, we previously covered where JoJo Siwa was using a merch design which closely resembled the logo for Tool, and whether or not that was JoJo Siwa's idea or not, I lean more towards that it was someone on her team and she just thought it was a cool design and okayed it. I doubt she knew who Tool were. So whenever I'm looking at all of JoJo Siwa's stuff, I'm always taking it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, and I'm always taking into account how many people there are behind the scenes managing JoJo Siwa and conveying that she should do different ideas and go on different things and yada yada da. I'm always aware of how manufactured this is. To bring us right up to the present, JoJo Siwa has just been a part of a new interview with People, and it's 7 rules JoJo Siwa lives by. So I'm very excited to get into some wisdom and some teachings from someone who is successful in an industry that I'm sure lots of you guys would like to be a part of. So let's get right into it, shall we?
At the end of the day, when you really sit down and deeply think about it, you only get one life. And I think it's now, as humans, you're faced with the choice of, can I be happy or am I gonna be miserable, right? What up, everybody? I'm JoJo Siwa, and these are my rules for life.
And I would say that's very true. You gotta live life like we just got this one time, make the most of it. Classic advice. Keep going, keep pushing on through, guys. You guys have got this. I believe in every single one of you. Let's just venture on forth into more of JoJo Siwa's wisdom together.
Rule number 1, communication is key. Most people think it's impossible to work with family, right? But the realization that you gotta have is, working with family is very hard.
Say you're sorry. But why should I say sorry?
It's tough because, of course, you're balancing a personal relationship with a professional relationship, but you always gotta remember, at the end of the day, your family is your family, and your personal relationship is always gonna matter so much more, because you can be the most brutally honest with each other and still care for each other at the end of the day.
Also, a very good rule, communication is key. I'm terrible at communication with people. I really should check up on people, message all my close friends and all that good stuff. And even communication and collaboration with like artistic works, I'm always very boxed in, and I don't really like to let many people into like all that kind of stuff. That's definitely something I'll take on board, open communication or better communication. Very good morals. I think we could all learn a little bit from JoJo Siwa.
Rule number 2, anytime you're sad, do 10 jumping jacks. I recently had my 21st.
That is very good advice. And I know many other people who are probably going to make a video on this, they're going to make some jokes like, oh, if you're depressed, just do jumping jacks or just get some exercise. They're going to be like, ha ha ha, and they're going to take the mick out of this. But it is a very good idea. Get the blood flowing, good for the brain. Probably will make you feel a lot better if you've done 10 jumping jacks after any situation.
I recently had my 21st birthday. Everybody saw it be a really fun day online, but it was actually ruined by somebody who was very close to me and who was with me on that day. But
oh no, what happened? That's the day where we've already logged this. We looked at this. That's the day where JoJo Siwa had a lot to drink, it would seem, at Disneyland. That's what happened. I'm very upset to hear that that day was ruined. It looked like quite an enjoyable time.
I took a breath and I realized that she was going to be with me all day, but there was other people there as well. And so I made the choice to not let the one person ruin the day and let the other people that were there have the best day. And I think that was me faced with a choice of I could sob and be miserable this day, or I could choose to get up, take a shower, do 10. Every time I'm sad, I say do 10 jumping jacks. Because if you do 10 jumping jacks, you're going to forget about being sad. Just get up and do 10 jumping jacks and move your blood around, and it saves you.
I can see the logic in that. As soon as you've done 10 jumping jacks, you're thinking like, what was the fuss all about? I've just been able to do 10 jumping jacks. Nothing else matters. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like what JoJo said about, you could either mope and cry about it or do 10 jumping jacks. I was watching this video. It's like some psychologist talking, and someone said to them, you're going to walk that path whether you like it or not. You can either go squealing like a pig, being dragged to the slaughter, or you can go with as much dignity and grace as you can. And I think doing 10 jumping jacks shows a lot of dignity and grace, because what else is more graceful than flying in the air and making yourself out to look like a star?
Don't get me wrong. I had the best 21st birthday ever. My best friends in the whole wide world were there. My family was there. It was awesome. I definitely woke up that morning, and no one knows this, I cried for the first 2 hours of that day. And I could have let those first 2 hours ruin the whole day. But then I'm lucky, my best friend Tyler called me and he was like, come on over, we got bagels in the room for you, bagels for the birthday girl. And I was like, Ty, you have no idea, you just saved me today. And it was a great day then. Rule number 3, make time for what you love.
Oh, I love this rule. This rule is fantastic. If you guys have been following the channel, you might have realized, that's been a long time since he's uploaded. I've been taking time out to do exactly that, make time for what I love, and I am a musician at heart. I always will be a musician. I started this journey doing YouTube as a kid, but then I found music a bit later on, and music is what fully saved me, and I feel like I'll always be attracted to YouTube in some way or sense. I feel like it's something I've got to reconcile here, but yeah, I couldn't take much time away from music without my brain just shouting at me, being like, why have you stopped doing the thing that you love to do the most, being creating music? And I had no good answer, so I sort of got possessed by the muses, and I've made some music, which I suggest everyone does. Make time out for what you love. Making music is very healthy. And if you don't believe me, I found this little science study online to do with making music and its benefits. And the title is Music Making as a Tool for Promoting Brain Plasticity Across Lifespan. And they actually found that higher IQ has also been reported in children who have received musical training. For example, engaging in musical practice in childhood predicted academic performance and IQ at the university level. This effect persisted even when family income and parents' education were controlled for. Thus, there appears to be some support for the effects of musical lessons on intellectual development. So I recommend anyone who's inspired by JoJo Siwa to learn music and start singing, pick up an instrument. It's very good for your health, especially if you've got kids. Get them into music, man. Good stuff.
Dance is my little emotional outlet. Dance, I am able to go in my studio, play the song, play the music, and I can escape. If I'm having a bad day, I can play a song and I can envision dance steps in my head and it can distract me. I think it's the most positive distractor ever. To make a dance move a signature JoJo move, you can take any dance move and I can put my little stamp on it. Dance has helped me overcome a lot. I find that anytime I'm going through sort of a little meant to be sadness moment in my life, I always will turn to dance for some reason. And I think it's because that's my childhood passion. And one of my best friends in the world, G Flip, they have been playing their Nintendo Switch a lot, and it's to heal their inner child. And I was like, that's interesting, because I feel like for me to heal my inner child is I turn to dance.
Okay, now that is also very interesting and very good. I feel like a lot of people, again, would just knock JoJo Siwa, be like, you can't dance, you can't do this. Why are you teaching kids to do your dance moves? It's just, live in a society or whatever. I think nonetheless, if you're inspired to dance, don't be dissuaded by anyone taking the mick out of JoJo Siwa for dancing, because it can be incredibly healthy. So yeah, if you don't believe me, here's this article from Harvard Medical School that I found. Now, if you're wondering why I'm doing this, it's because I have little to no interest in JoJo Siwa. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna come clean, and I feel like I should communicate to you guys that this has inadvertently become some kind of job for me. It's become a source of income, and another reason why I've sort of taken a little break is to work out how can I make this beneficial in a more of a net positive way. And I feel like by venturing into the internet, going to these topics such as JoJo Siwa, etc., etc., but then being able to hold some actual facts and truth that will hopefully benefit you guys in some way or form. So we're not only breaking down JoJo Siwa's antics, we're also helping to hopefully build someone up with just some actual knowledge, rather than something that's just, I don't know, just complete waffle, because it is just immensely hard for me to take the position where I have to be overly critical about someone that I really don't care about. And that's the honest truth. So let's continue. In this Harvard University article, it says, in a small study undertaken in 2012, researchers at North Dakota's Minot State University found that the Latin-style dance program known as Zumba improves mood and certain cognitive skills such as visual recognition and decision-making, which is very important. You need visual recognition skills, otherwise you wouldn't be able to recognize your grandma, and that obviously helps with dealing with patterns, which then leads on to the other benefit, which is decision making. Better decision making is something that we all need and is very important, especially at a young age where you're at school, and making wise decisions will set you up for a better future, supposedly. Other studies showed that dance helps reduce stress, increase levels of feel-good hormone serotonin, and helps develop new neural connections, especially in regions involved in the executive functioning, long-term memory, and spatial recognition. That's also important where we're in a society where so many people have been diagnosed with ADHD, and that number is just rising up and up and up, and that deals with executive functioning and being able to make more neural connections. And I know that exercise is beneficial for people with ADHD anyways, so dancing pairs that with memory, coordination, all that good stuff. So yeah, that might be another reason as to why JoJo Siwa cites dance as having such a positive effect on them and quote-unquote healing their inner child. It does have a great health benefit, so I recommend you all get out there, start doing your guilty pleasure dances, start dancing around, and fire those neurons together.
Rule number 4, no bad blood. And in this movie, there was something in the script where my mentor in the movie told me as the character, she said, friends outgrow each other, and that's okay. And that, to me, that line, like, changed my life, because I was like, damn, like, I needed to hear that personally. And I think people do outgrow each other, and that's okay. But I'm one of the very lucky ones, because now I'm 21, and I am experiencing love for the first time, and it is true love, and it is magical, and it's made me realize that what I thought was love was not love, and I know I'm very young to experience that, but it's a really magical feeling.
Wonderful. I have nothing else to say or add on to that. You know, we all know how bad holding grudges is, and we all know how bad it is staying around people that aren't good for us. And yeah, friends do outgrow each other, and sometimes we all just move on just so we can grow that bit more. Having a lovely time watching a JoJo Siwa video. This is what we do on the Murray's Annie channel. Welcome, and if you are enjoying this video, please be sure to subscribe. This is probably just how I'm going to have to continue making videos from now on, just finding bits of knowledge so I can feed my brain, as well as hopefully just giving bits of information that give you guys inspiration. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to transmute it. We're going to transmute the internet. Come on. Come with us. Let's do it.
Rule number 5, don't overthink it. Honestly, for me coming out, there was no decision process. It was never, ooh, should I or shouldn't I? It was always, okay, I'm going to tell the world, but I don't know how. It wasn't necessarily like, hey, world, I'm gay. It was more like, hey, world, I got a partner now. This is cool. Rule number 6, stand out. It's interesting because I think we live in a world today where people are scared to be different.
Sometimes it's good to stand out. Other times probably isn't so good to stand out. But I feel like as long as you keep a good rapport around you, make a good name for yourself, you know, serve those around you, stand out. Stand out from the crowd by being good. That's probably the way to do it. Just be you. Just be you, man.
I think that there's nothing wrong with being different. There's nothing wrong with being a little weird, a little out there. And I think not being afraid to be judged. Shane Dawson said this quote back in the day. And he's something along the lines of, everybody in public is worried about themselves. Nobody's judging you. And that to me has really stuck with me throughout my life, being like,
no one really cares that much. Everyone's so involved in like worrying about themselves. And so once
That is actually also very good advice. You know, when you're scared about doing something, you're scared about public perception, just realize no one really cares. Everyone is so, as to repeat, JoJo Siwa is very concerned with what's going on in their own lives. Like me, I have no interest in JoJo Siwa, but you guys do. So I'm here to serve you guys in the ways that I know how. And all I can do is sort of filter the internet through my flesh lens and just sort of stand in the way of it. Like Spider-Man, but a sieve. Spider sieve.
you can wrap your head around that of if you're a little embarrassed because of your outfit or you're a little embarrassed to make a TikTok in public, people are going to see it for 1 second and move on with their life. You are going to be okay.
Like the Lamborghini, like the faces on the Lamborghini. You know, we all just moved on from that. Fair enough. Putting the proof in the pudding, putting your money where your mouth is, or your face where your car is.
Rule number 7, life is a game. Don't be afraid to play it. I think for me when I'm...
It's time to play the game. It's time to play the game. Sorry, I had to.
Life is a game. Don't be afraid to play it. I think for me when I'm finding a style, it is how can I be so messed up? How can I be so weird? How can I be so whack? That for me is something that I have a lot of fun with, is how can I take somebody and make them turn their head at me and go, why is she wearing that? What is she doing? Oh, what's she wearing now?
That's exactly the thought process that goes into my mustache. No, I was going to shave before this video, but then I thought, what if I shave and then it does that thing where there's just like, little cuts and like, it's red and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I want to get this video done. I'm going to keep this just for this video. And then we'll see. We'll see what happens next time.
It's a fun game for me to play. Something that makes a memorable fashion statement is makeup. I think that truly has the potential to make or break a look, whether you're afraid to go to that next level or not. Because an outfit's crazy. Me wearing the fur ball, it's crazy. But the green makeup is what took it over the edge.
I don't need to say anything. Jojo, you're completely right. The green makeup is what took it over the edge. If dressing up like a furry ball wasn't enough, the green eye makeup took it there. You're right.
And look, I am down to try anything. I always tell people, I'm like, think of as weird as you can get or as crazy as you can do or something you're too afraid to have ever done before, and that's what I want to do.
And that is actually another great bit of advice. Go towards what you're scared of. And I had to really evaluate myself, be like, am I scared of YouTube? Am I scared of YouTube? If I'm scared of YouTube, that means I have to do it. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to figure out ways to help, or I'm going to have to figure out ways to serve you guys in a much better way. So that's what I've been doing. Fear itself, funnily enough, the root word of fear, if you go on the etymology website, it comes from the Proto-Indo-European root, a lengthened form of the verbal root per, which means to try, to risk, to lead, forward, through, in front of, or before. So it's pushing through all your fears. Your fear literally means to go through. So that's what we're doing on YouTube. Welcome to the Murray Zannies channel. If you stuck around for this long, this video, and you actually enjoyed it, which I'm so eager to see who comes by, who's receptive to this thing we're doing over here. And if anyone's still around, I have been gone for quite a while, but I'm back again. So yeah. Hope you guys are enjoying this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Yeah? Tune me in.
Those are all the rules that I live by, and I gotta admit, I highly recommend them. I love y'all, and thanks for watching.
And I've gotta admit, I highly recommend a great big bunch of those as well. So thank you, JoJo Siwa. That's been a great video. Look it in. And I feel like before we wrap this video up, JoJo Siwa, in the time I was away, did release the new EP. And I have listened to it today, where I listened to the songs that we haven't listened to already, and I wrote some notes. I like the instrumental for the first 2 tracks, and I like the simplicity and cleanliness of the bass line of Balance Baby, and it had a cool little rap verse. I like the cadence that JoJo picked up there. Thought it was alright. But most recently, we've seen a bunch of strange antics on stage, whether that be drinking from a fake bottle of alcohol, taking sips of Fireball on stage, and really causing this split and really trying to usher out and alienate her child fans. So without further ado, let's just jump onto TikTok and see what's going on in the world of JoJo Siwa.
Did you all hear the one about JoJo Siwa stopping her New York City show to yell at a fan who dared to boo her?
Who the living just booed me? Where the did that come from? Which one of you?
Wow, this is no way to handle being heckled at a show when you could easily just ignore it, and I feel like it almost shows cracks in your armor when you've been chipped by something as minor as this. You already know that whoever's booing is sort of pathetic in a way. There's no need to openly call it out because it just reflects poorly on you know what I mean?
Which one of you? Respectfully? You.
Wow, that was some kind of ego display there. And look how she's looking at them like, yeah. You booed me. You dared to boo me. And look, there were a lot of people there.
Here we see, as much as JoJo Siwa likes to say that the hate doesn't get to her and F the haters and all this kind of stuff, when you're immediately calling out someone that's just booing you on stage and pausing the whole show, it kind of counteracts that kind of sentiment. You know what I mean?
I opened my TikTok and people ask me the same question. They say, what the f are you? And they say a lot of to me. They say you should act your age. Started doing that and they still hate me. They say, write your own songs.
The crowd's like, yeah, no, you don't have to write your own songs, boo to them. In my opinion, I do think it is more beneficial and I feel like there is more merit to writing and singing your own songs, you know what I mean? And JoJo Siwa being offended by people calling her out on that or even giving it attention just shows that perhaps maybe her attention should be diverted to getting better at making music. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Yo, what is up guys? If you're enjoying this video, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for the support recently, I really do appreciate it. But enough yapping, let's get right back into the video, shall we?
Not even you singing! And you know what I say to those f***ers? I tell them to hold the mother drama!
Well, we're holding it alright, we're the ones making videos on it, and we're the ones giving you the attention you want, JoJo Siwa, so enjoy. And that's unfortunate. It is unfortunate that she's had to deal with this kind of hate and deal with this kind of criticism since a very young age, and again, it does raise questions about being in the industry at 12 years old and younger, and I just think this is not the example that should be set for younger people that want to get into the industry, and especially since JoJo Siwa already cultivated that young demographic, I believe that she should be setting a better example and not trying to lean into all these adult stereotypes and drinking on stage and faking it, really. I just don't think it works. I think it should be a more natural progression into something more raw and personal, and these songs should have a more raw and personal touch and not be so industry manufactured and so pristine and so off in a way. And what I mean by that is they're so crisp and they're already so pre-packaged that you can tell that it's not just JoJo Siwa making all these decisions, it's the machine behind her that are just trying to siphon off money from JoJo Siwa's talents.
Write your own songs! That's not even you singing! That song is amazing! And you know what I say to those fuckers? I tell them to hold the motherfucking drama!
So let's analyze the talking points. They say, write your own songs. No, they say, don't act like you wrote your own songs if you didn't. They say, that's not even you singing. Well, that's because you're playing it at your concert and it isn't you singing. Didn't JoJo say that some of her tracks didn't even have her voice on it yet? Well, girl, what have you been doing for the past 2 years? They say that Emmeline song is amazing. Well, it is. It's a great song. And JoJo, you're going to have a big hit with it. And you did finally credit her, but it didn't come easily. That tooth took a lot of tugging. And then for her sizzling finale, she tells them, whoever they are, to, quote, hold the drama. Her Kitty song. And it's not even Boomerang, the Kitty song that she sang at the concert. She should have said, you know what I say to them? I'm gonna come back like a boomerang, and then sang Boomerang.
Yeah, it seems like JoJo Siwa is being completely mismanaged in a sense, or she's just surrounded by a bunch of yes men. But I genuinely do believe that there's so much back-end stuff, especially with the packaging of the Emmeline song, that perhaps people are sort of telling her that this is okay and it's okay to repackage these songs and it's okay to do all this kind of stuff. And then JoJo Siwa releases this music thinking that it's just industry standard. And then you have people that are just clearly not okay with it. And people don't really want to see pre-packaged songs written by other people out of your debut. I know that it almost is industry standard to have songs written for you, but to this kind of degree, I feel like it's just way too obvious and it's way too far from who JoJo Siwa actually is, and it's almost discomforting to the listener or to the audience themselves. I'm sorry. Like, if you don't know, Fireball, it's not that harsh of a drink. It's actually quite sweet. It's actually, it's actually almost enjoyable, to be honest. And it's like one of the cheapest sort of shots that you can get usually at clubs and stuff. And to have JoJo Siwa sort of be like, oh no, what am I about to do? It is quite funny. Oh man, I don't think it warrants that kind of reaction, but let's just continue watching. Yeah, it's definitely a complete overreaction for sure. Like a quarter sip of Fireball. To be honest, it probably makes your vocal cords feel quite warm and probably prepare you for that, to be fair. Or was it heavenly? But again, it just seems like such a stark attempt to be like, I've grown up now. Look, I'm drinking alcohol on stage. Look at me. Oh, all these kids, you shouldn't be here. It's like, look, I'm so different. I'm so different. It must be almost like whiplash for her previous audience to see what JoJo Siwa is trying to become and trying to act like they are. If JoJo Siwa starts to think that this kind of stuff is okay, and if their management is saying like, oh yeah, you should drink on stage and stuff, I can only imagine that kind of having a bad effect in JoJo Siwa's personal life, where you might have her sitting in a sort of dressing room or sitting in their apartment and like looking at that whiskey bottle and thinking, yeah, that's fine, let me actually do it for real and just become a pure alcoholic, which is what no one wants, to be honest. I don't condone drinking alcohol on stage in front of a bunch of young fans or just doing it for the sake of image. I know that Matty Healy from the 1975, he's renowned for doing it, but that's been a part of their brand image the whole time, you know what I mean? And their music is more catered towards edgier and a much wider age range than JoJo Siwa ever has been.
Y'all, for like 14 years of my life, I performed in front of 6-year-olds. And they were way fucking louder than this.
I think that's a good example of crowd control, get the crowd going, inoffensive, you know what I mean? And it gives some backstory and it helps the audience resonate with JoJo Siwa on stage here. Fair enough, I can't knock it.
Every day I still get fucking asked, JoJo, have you learned nothing?
And that's what that other lady in the TikTok kept saying and stuff. And it's very interesting to know that JoJo Siwa keeps tabs on all these TikTokers and stuff and still comes from the position that she doesn't let the hate get to her. I am really intrigued as to where JoJo Siwa will be in 5 years. I'm really intrigued to see where her sound evolves to, and I really hope to get more of a personal touch from JoJo Siwa's music and like to hear more raw vocals and maybe a more stripped back version, maybe some acoustic versions. I would much prefer to hear that than again like the pop industry machine package stuff that we're hearing now.
Ready? Ready? Goes, I'll write it down 1,000 times. Hope it's.
Okay, it's cool, you know, doing the signature move there. A lot of people have problems with this kind of move or whatever JoJo Siwa was doing, but I know for a fact that I wouldn't be able to do that. So I can only give praise and give props where it's due for these dance moves, because I know that I could never be able to replicate that in any kind of way.
My story is, people shit on that when I do it. I don't really care about what they say.
A fair play to it, you know, the choreography's there, the entertainment value's there, and I believe that Boomerang is an old song of JoJo Siwa's, so bringing that back and another FU to the haters, I've got to respect it in some capacity.
The X on my podcast, honestly, I said that and I was kind of going down the press line, just answering things very quick. Honestly, my first thought was like, oh, someone knows I have a podcast. Like, I was stoked about that. And then I just couldn't think of a dream guest fast enough. And so I said my ex, and or any of my exes.
It's a good answer.
But then I really thought about it and I was like, nah, actually, I don't want any of my exes. Like,
it's very nice to see this side of JoJo Siwa. All I've seen of JoJo is this sort of over-the-top image that she likes to project, and then also this whole shtick of that she doesn't care about the haters and stuff. Seeing this more down-to-earth JoJo Siwa and this more honest and open and vulnerable JoJo Siwa, I wouldn't even say vulnerable, but just a more chill, down-to-earth version of JoJo. I think this is the adult image that JoJo Siwa is searching for in all of these acts of doing fireballs and all this kind of stuff and trying to figure out what it means to be an adult. It's more just being chill and being level-headed like this.
like, to be honest, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, do I hug you when you get to my house?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Everything leading up to it.
Also, like, we're filming in the bedroom that, like, we slept in together.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
This is awkward.
A bit too much information there. But let's go down and look at the comments. Can't let gang know I F with this version of JoJo Siwa. Why can't she act like this all the time? And I agree, I feel like more down-to-earth stuff like this is probably the step in the right direction that JoJo should be making. And since our last upload, JoJo Siwa has actually done a sound exchange interview where a lot of this stuff is supposedly addressed. So let's just go through this and give this our thoughts.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Oh my god, of course. Thank you for having me.
I would love to talk a little bit about your brand. I feel like you're...
I have a brand? I feel like now I have two.
You do?
I feel like I got old me and new me.
I have a brand? Yeah. No, you definitely have a brand, JoJo Siwa. You definitely have a brand.
Almost 180. You're evolving. Your career is shifting. How did you go about kind of the direction in which your brand is now changing when you approach a rebrand? Like, what are some things that you can do?
The thing for me is I have always just wanted to entertain, and I always wanted to do what I always want to do. It's not even wanted. I still do want to do what I think people are going to turn their head at, maybe cock their head at, maybe be like, what the is she doing? You know what I mean? I've always wanted that to be, that is my brand. You know what I mean? My brand, people think, okay, this is a better way to explain it.
Already, I'm seeing some kind of flaws in this. I genuinely think if you're going to create a brand, it shouldn't be based on just trying to get a reaction and just trying to get people to cock their head as per se. I think it should be more about communicating exactly who you are and your inmost personality and sort of letting people resonate with that rather than using a lot of cheap tactics to try and garner attention. Because like JoJo said, she saw what used to work, whether it be like eating candy or slime or all this kind of stuff, and then she just kept doing that. And eventually, if you keep doing that kind of stuff, then you'll lose yourself in the process.
Growing up in the spotlight, how did you manage the pressures that came with it early on?
Honestly, I didn't realize them. I didn't realize how different my childhood was while I was in my childhood. I didn't realize it till now. I look at 14 or 15-year-olds and I'm like, whoa. I look at 16-year-olds and I'm like, that's how old I was on Dream the Tour. That's how old I was when I was in charge of 60 people on a world tour. Like, that's crazy to me.
It's almost quite sad, like, you don't get time to grow up in a normal environment. You're already managing people and supposedly managing 60 people at the age of 16. And I can only assume that you've got a bunch of people talking in your ear, telling you to do this, telling you to do that, saying that you should try doing this more. And then they've only got money in their mind and thinking about how they can sort of use this to put money in their pockets and how they can use your attention grabbing abilities to siphon off something into their pockets. And I can only imagine how split that must make you in your mind. You know what I mean?
Even now, I mean, I'm not living a normal 20-year-old's life. I definitely have my quirks of my life, but I think I'm kind of lucky because it is all that I know. I have a lot of friends in the industry, and a lot of them, you know, gained fame very quickly and overnight at an old enough age to comprehend what's happening. But for me, you know, I was 9. It's been a very slow growth and a very steady growth. You know, I've never necessarily peaked or spiked and then came down from it. Whereas I think a lot of people get that very quick overnight success. Charli D'Amelio is a phenomenal example. She was 15 years old, lived her whole life. Then all of a sudden overnight, she was the biggest thing in the world. And for a 15-year-old, that's really hard to figure out then how to deal with and navigate. But for me, I mean, it was kind of all that I know.
That's very interesting that JoJo Siwa sees it as a positive, where it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's all she's known. So that meteoric rise to fame and that massive spike may have not have hit her as hard as it would hit someone who was never in the industry and then found that fame. Here, it seems like she's counting her blessings, which I can only admire here, you know, looking on the bright side of life at the end of the day. And I guess perhaps maybe it has served her in being able to do what she wants to do within the industry.
You started your career on Dance Moms. Looking back, how do you feel like that experience shaped you as a person, but also a performer?
Honestly, I accredit pretty much all of my personality to Dance Moms. I think it really shaped my ability to learn how to stand up for myself, learn how to stand up for what's right, learn how to fight for what I want, fight for what's right, fight for others, stand up for others, stand up for what's right. It taught me how to take anything that you need to, you know what I mean? It taught me how to sink or swim. Taught me a lot.
I wish we got more of a definition of what JoJo Siwa considers what's right and what's wrong. It does seem like there is an essence of PR training that is coursing its way through this interview. I won't lie. It seems like a lot of these answers have been pre-prepared, or the fact that JoJo Siwa has been in the industry for a very long time, just knows what to say and what not to say.
And that for me is like, now in the music industry, I'm not competing against others my age. I'm not competing or trying to be better than anybody else. I'm just trying to compete with myself and push myself to be the best that I can be, because only I can do what I can do.
You were signed with Nickelodeon for quite a bit.
I was.
Did you watch Quiet on Set?
I actually didn't. I've heard a lot about it, but I have not watched it yet.
I feel like it talked a lot about just the treatment of child actors.
Totally.
Or just stars in general in the industry.
Totally.
In terms of just like being a child star in the industry, what are some of the challenges you feel like you faced?
It's interesting because hearing about that documentary and just hearing a lot of child star stories, of course, my childhood came with its hardships. I mean, as anybody's childhood does. But looking at my childhood and growing up in the industry, I realized what a damn good mom I have, because she protected me from everything and everyone she needed to.
Well, that's kind of reassuring to know that JoJo Siwa being amongst Nickelodeon and all this kind of stuff didn't really tarnish her mental well-being, and JoJo Siwa had a good mum around her to protect her from all of the bad goings on that are rumoured to be happening around that kind of sphere. And I can probably see why JoJo Siwa probably wouldn't want to watch that documentary. I'm sure it probably would bring up some kind of things that perhaps JoJo Siwa doesn't need in their life right now and just wants to focus on, as she said, being the best version of herself.
I had a good team around me that knew, but especially at Nickelodeon when I first started, the team over there protected me against people that they needed to. And they had my back over there, but then as I got older and the team switched over, that's kind of when everything went to shit for me at Nickelodeon, but I was older, so it was okay. So my mom was really my ride or die, with me every day, and she even I don't mess with that girl. She's terrifying, and so no one messed with her. I remember one time there was an open bar on set that I did. I was maybe 13, and it was a Nickelodeon branded shoot. So it was a brand deal, but through Nickelodeon, and there was an open bar on the set, and my mom said absolutely not and ripped me off the set. And I didn't understand at the age. I was like, Mom, what the heck? Like, no, now that director's not gonna like me. And she was like, that director is drinking, and that lighting operator is drinking. If that light falls on your head, you know what happens to you? And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, my mom had her shit together so much. And yeah.
And that kind of thing definitely sounds invaluable, and having someone care for you in that kind of way and be so aware of all of these potential industry mishaps, that must have been so beneficial. But then again, it also seems like as a result of that, JoJo Siwa has sort of become overprotected in a way, and almost so sheltered that this is why we're getting the version of JoJo Siwa that we're getting now. One that wants to rebel, and one that wants to completely show that they're nothing like their child counterpart. And now they're completely different, and now they can drink on stage, and now they can say F you to the haters and all this kind of stuff, and sort of pull a Miley Cyrus, but in a much more breakneck and unnatural fashion.
Yeah, my hardships were nowhere near what other child stars have had to go through.
In terms of like navigating the music industry from like a young age, what have been some of the lessons that you've learned?
The biggest lesson that I've learned is at the end of the day, it is my career and my life that a lot of people are working on. But it goes back to, no matter how many people work on it, no matter how many opinions people have, it is my career. We call it when I'm on tour the credential card. And it's whoever's face is on the credential has the final say. And that's because if something's going one way and I say, I don't want to do the show tonight, if that's how it's going to be, then, well, no one can do the show. We can do the show without anybody else, but we can't do it without me. You know what I mean? And
so it's very interesting. We also get confirmation that JoJo Siwa said it herself. There are lots of people involved in her career, which is, again, why we might be getting this unnatural, pre-packaged product that just doesn't sit right with the audience that she's trying to resonate with, because there's just too many cooks in the kitchen spoiling the broth.
The whole team at Nickelodeon was amazing, truly. And my career with them was amazing. The decisions we made together were amazing. It was awesome. I listened to them. I did what they wanted. I did what I wanted. They did what I wanted. I did what they wanted. It was very mutual. And then they left. And I was still there. Same company. Me, myself, my name, my image, my brand, my videos, it was still me and I was still there, but there was a whole new team. And I realized that I am the only human in this world that is stuck with JoJo Siwa. Everybody else at some point in their life either goes home, thinks about someone else or something else, or changes something, or retires. I don't ever get to do that. And so I have to make sure that every move I make, every play I play, every pitch I throw is something that I am truly happy with at the end of the day. And, you know, of course I have an incredible team that I want to listen to and take advice from, but at the end of the day, I'm the only one that has to live with it. And so I've learned, if I don't like it, I ain't doing it. And it took me two things to do that I didn't like. Two things that I was like, all right, you know what, screw it, I'll just do it, it's fine, I'll put my head down and I'll just do it. And I still regret them to this day. And I was 12 for one of them and 14 for the other, and I was like, I'm never doing that again.
As much as JoJo Siwa thinks that they have complete control and the final say-so on anything that happens, I think people in the industry are very good at manipulating and guiding things in certain directions and making suggestions that at the end of the day will seep in and will affect that honest perception that JoJo Siwa is trying to garner. I think there's no way that you can have that independent feel when you're surrounded by this many people and this many managers that are involved with your brand.
I don't want kids to be watching my videos from back in the day, because it's the internet. They're all still out there and come across my stuff now. And while it is the internet and some of that is inevitable and kids might be on their For You page and something might come up, I feel like now I look different enough that kids won't even realize that it's the same me. You know what I mean? It's that's JoJo Siwa and this is JoJo Siwa. But I feel like when we were about to release music, it was very, very important to me that Karma didn't go on the same Spotify that Kid and Candy Store was on, because there are still little kids that are either A, listening to my stuff or just discovering my stuff, and I don't want them to hear what they're not supposed to yet. Now, they can search JoJo Siwa, they can find whatever they find, but
I think, unfortunately, the kids that you don't want to hear your music, they will be hearing your music and what you don't want them to hear. Again, making this massive change at breakneck speed, and again, promoting alcohol and trying to present yourself as this icon of adulthood probably isn't the best thing for those younger fans that you don't want to see you do this kind of stuff.
But then there's also, I got a call, I've over the years done so much with Make-A-Wish, and the other day they called my team and they said there was about 8 kids that they have been working with that want me as their Make-A-Wish. And I asked them, I was like, can you tell me what ages these kids are, so that way I know, if it's a 16-year-old or a 6-year-old, it's a little bit of a different what their wish is, who their wish is to hang out with, And they were like, all of them are 6 and younger. And I was like, okay, we are gonna put a bow in our hair, we are gonna go and we're gonna hang out, and we're gonna go get ice cream, and we're gonna make slime together, and we're gonna have a great day. Because, especially in that situation, like, I want those kids to feel extra special and extra good and meet the JoJo that they want to meet. You know what I mean? Even though at this point now, doing that, I would be playing a character, it's for kids. Like, I want to... Kids are my favorite thing ever.
I think that's an interesting insight to get, to see that JoJo Siwa understands that there is still that image that lingers in certain children's minds, and to be able to present that to them and sort of make that separation in the moment can be seen as a good thing. And I think I just want to end it on that positive note there. There are good things that have come out of this, but I guess my only advice for JoJo Siwa is just take it a little bit slower. Just take it a bit slower. You don't have to sort of go all out to prove that you're completely different, prove that you've changed in this kind of way. Just make it natural, be natural, and take it as a slower progression. Just be more vulnerable and more raw in this kind of stuff, because this is the type of JoJo that I'm sure all age ranges want to see. JoJo Siwa is absolutely done with the hate, and to prove it, we've got an array of TikToks where JoJo Siwa is firing back and reacting to a bunch of hate comments and hate posts made about her. Also, in relation to this, there has been a bit of an upstir in controversy surrounding JoJo Siwa and their previous show, which, revealed by a Rolling Stones article, details accusations of mistreatment within JoJo Siwa's ex-OMG pop group, particularly the former member Leia Sanderson, and they claim that she and other young girls who are part of the TV show were subject to very intense rehearsal schedules, and also the emotional and physical environment that they were placed in. Now, obviously, all of this is ongoing, and I believe that JoJo Siwa's mother is actually facing a lawsuit for all of this, but we'll get to more of this later on after we take a look at JoJo Siwa's latest TikToks, which will be interesting to see as this is all happening during these conversations are being had about child performers in the entertainment industry, the impacts of such intense rehearsal schedules, and how that affects their well-being. So it's very interesting to see what JoJo Siwa's content will be amongst all of this criticism.
JoJo Siwa here, pulling out another baddie fifth with New York Fashion Week. This is a little something I like to call fuzzy inflated garbage bag with booger-colored monster boots.
I'm not even gonna fake any sort of reaction here. This has got significantly less funnier than when I first clicked on it to put it in this video. This isn't funny. Whoever made this, it's just a bit cringe, isn't it?
Herbie, and I also won't shut up. I guess you could say I'm having a ball.
I feel like doing this is probably worse than dressing up as the ball.
I took my inspiration from Violet Beauregard, who turned to a big blue blueberry because he was also a bad girl. Hey kids, unlike the fuzzy pom-poms included in your kindergarten projects, but have your nightmares. They're great.
That was the longest 33 seconds of my life. Swiftly moving on.
I'm all in for hate comments, but saying on my last post that the van missed me by a little bit, Van was so close, That's not hate. That's fucked up.
Now that is unfortunate, and that is one of the pitfalls that come with being famous. You have people commenting the most abhorrent stuff under your post. Anyone that utters that kind of sentiment against another person, no matter who they are, is seriously forgetting something about the sanctity of life. And after we move on to this next TikTok, why I found it interesting is because I was watching my good friend Inaba's video, and he was talking about how the people who are a part of JoJo Siwa's show, they were promised figurines, dolls to be made out of them. And I'm watching this TikTok, and the first thing I notice is that this room is just full of old JoJo Siwa merch. And I was just wondering about like what kind of mental state you have to be in to sort of have a whole room dedicated to just your merch. Maybe you would have your own merch as a whole room, because I guess it is your merch. It is something you're creating that you want to share with the world, and something you're supposed to really care about. And if you don't care about it enough to have a whole room full of it, then do you really want to sell it?
What's up, everybody? It's me, JoJo Siwa, and I am so excited to finally tell you all I am coming to Rhode Island for Comic-Con this year. November 1st to the 3rd is my first ever pop culture convention. I could not be any more excited. Hang out with y'all, take photos, sign autographs, maybe even a couple surprises.
It looks like a film set. It doesn't look like a real room. It looks like a film set for that merch. I wonder if JoJo Siwa tucks himself into bed at night surrounded by pictures of themselves. I do wonder. The mind goes to interesting places when you're watching JoJo Siwa videos. And on to the next video, it would seem that JoJo Siwa is still lashing back at the hate comments, or fighting back at the hate comments. And it's fair enough. That's completely JoJo Siwa's prerogative to be able to do that. If you're coming onto someone's page with like just pure negativity, don't be surprised when the creator fires back in some way or form. And I've noticed when that does happen from bigger people or whatever, when they like end up replying to these hate comments, the person who's left the comment is always defending themselves, just being like, oh, I'm just having a really bad day, man, my life is terrible. That seems to be a recurring theme, that like if you're that down in the dumps to leave hate comments under someone's video, then there's probably something a bit wrong that needs remedying. You know, there's probably something wrong that needs remedying if I'm making 4 or 5 JoJo Siwa videos in a row. There's probably something that I need help with.
Here's some of my favorites. Are you ready? Yep. Sending hate from Brazil. No, bro. Please, not my country. Please, bro. Oh, just wait. Gets better. Here's a good one. JoJo, start taking your meds.
JoJo doesn't strike me as someone that would need medication. I feel like JoJo Siwa, you know, they've just had a unique upbringing. But, you know, who hasn't? Who hasn't?
I'm going to the next one. Me after 2 days on Duolingo. Because it's literally me too. JoJo, you're going to make them not want to speak their own language. Today. You had potential to be pretty, but you ruined it. Good one. Someone shut her up. Can you shut me up? Thank you. Somehow my girlfriend dumping me was better than this. Let's go on to end it on. I have to say to that. Karmatosuka! Suck my kutas!
And that was JoJo Siwa replying to hate comments with their girlfriend. So it's not all doom and gloom, not all just responding to negativity. Here we have JoJo Siwa promoting some health, fitness, stamina core training. I'm not going to ignore the healthy stuff. This is what I should be doing. I wish I had my own studio to work out and dance in. Someone teach me how to dance. Partnering exercise with music, it can give you that rush of motivation, that extra bit of dopamine to get you through, especially when it's your own music, probably really good for your brain. There's JoJo Siwa's stamina core training. That reminds me, I need to get on my stamina core training. And you'll notice through these TikToks that there's been a slight Polish twang, a Polish thematic thread piercing through the veil of each JoJo Siwa video that we consume through this voidless scope of something that we call TikTok. JoJo Siwa's made this song, and it was very inspired by the sounds of Poland, and JoJo Siwa's just run with it completely, all the way to stating that they would be performing at Eurovision.
Yesterday, tomorrow, today.
Poland, woohoo! Poland! Shout out Poland. Here's where JoJo's Poland arc reaches its climax. Another day, another prep for Eurovision, supposedly.
Today.
Poland's Eurovision bosses actually came out in this BBC article and said that we haven't spoken to JoJo Siwa, say Polish Eurovision bosses. The people in charge of Poland's Eurovision entry say that they haven't spoken to reality TV star JoJo Siwa about representing this country. In a post on TikTok, the 21-year-old claimed that she had real discussions about performing at the contest next year, but Polish broadcaster TVP, which is involved in choosing the country's Eurovision acts, said it wasn't speaking to artists and hadn't made any decisions about 2025. A very interesting climax to that story. I'm not sure what the thought was. Maybe if you just sort of manifest it, will it into being by stating it as a true fact and saying that you're preparing for Eurovision, perhaps JoJo Siwa will eventually be on those Eurovision stages. Who knows? In this latest Rolling Stone article which was published, there was a lot of stuff that was revealed about the TV shows that JoJo Siwa and JoJo Siwa's mother curated and was a part of, particularly the environments which the children were trained in and the treatment of the people involved. First of all, there were accusations of physical mistreatment. Former ex-OMG pop member Leah Sanderson claimed that her time on the group was marked by emotional and physical distress. According to her, the rigorous schedules combined with the constant pressure to perform led to extreme exhaustion and emotional turmoil. The girls reportedly rehearsed up to 10 hours a day with little regard for their physical or mental well-being. Sanderson described feeling physically drained and mentally worn down by the intense workload. This article also delves into Jessalyn Siwa's role in all of this and how she conducted herself whilst filming this TV show. JoJo's mother, Jessalyn Siwa, managed the group and is accused of creating a toxic environment. She is said to have enforced harsh discipline and expectations, which allegedly included verbal abuse towards the dancers. Jessalyn allegedly used fear as a tool for motivation, leading the girls to feel a constant pressure to meet unrealistic standards. This created an unhealthy, high-pressure atmosphere that negatively affected the performers' emotional well-being. The article then goes in to describe the emotional strain and fear that was curated around the environment of the show. Sanderson claimed that the stress caused by Jessalyn's management tactics was overwhelming. The emotional strain included fear of failure, feeling like they were never good enough. This environment led to emotional breakdowns among the dancers. The mental pressure was compounded by a sense of isolation. The young performers reportedly felt trapped in the group, unable to express their concerns or seek help due to fear of repercussions. Of course, the article delves into JoJo Siwa's involvement, and where JoJo Siwa was not directly involved in managing the group, she's being criticized because she was a part of the overarching system that enabled all of this mistreatment in the first place. Because according to this article, she was more of a figurehead, with her mother controlling the day-to-day operations, which is definitely to be expected. I wouldn't expect JoJo Siwa to have the mental capacity to take on a task like managing day-to-day operations whilst also focusing on their music and dance performance of their own. According to this article, which again I kind of expected, JoJo's role in the group was more promotional as the brand used her fame to garner all the attention, whilst Jessalyn handled the group's strict management. I feel like that's what everyone kind of idealized in their head when they thought of the behind-the-scenes operations of this show. This also pulls into question the broader industry implications. The allegations against the Siwas have sparked a far broader conversation about the treatment of child stars and child performers in the entertainment industry. There are definitely far more people now calling for better oversight over these conditions and protections for young talent who have been put through such grueling experiences, and yeah, I completely agree. I feel like this was definitely important for me to bring to light amongst all the JoJo Siwa videos that we've done. I tend not to want to try and slander anyone or, you know, bring anyone down for no particular reason, but when there's concern for well-being of little ones, then I feel like this kind of stuff has to be brought to light. And to continue down this sort of rabbit hole, as I started to watch more of these clips of shows that JoJo has been a part of, such as Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution and Dance Mums, I see the kind of environment that's been curated around dance in general. And in Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, as early as the first episode, there's a moment where one of the kids is clearly struggling, trying to catch their breath, and eventually breaks down. It's definitely a tough moment to watch. But, you know, it's not unusual for shows to capture moments like this, but seeing it happen to younger kids, especially in a show led by someone who knows firsthand the toll the industry takes on you when you're a young star or you're a young talent, it seems like a massive disconnect from JoJo's public stance on protecting young performance. And it's interesting because through observing the shows like Dance Mums and seeing how Abby Lee treated JoJo Siwa, and then for JoJo Siwa to take that on as that's just how the industry is, etc., where these tough environments, it seems normal to JoJo Siwa, and for JoJo Siwa to then curate that kind of environment for other children that she's training, it seems quite sad, to be honest. And here we've got a clip of JoJo Siwa actually defending Abby Lee Miller, who was the dance teacher in Dance Mums, where there's like countless clips of her shouting at JoJo Siwa online. And here we have JoJo Siwa essentially defending Abby Miller for everything.
This is going to be a little controversial to say, I think, but
see, I don't really have much to say on top of that, other than JoJo Siwa has the potential here to make a real impact on how child stars are treated in the music industry or the dance industry as a whole. And she's spoken about a bunch of the challenges that she's faced personally growing up as a child star, as a dancer. And by taking the leadership role in projects like Dance Pop Revolution, she genuinely has an opportunity to set new standards and not repeat what she went through just because she thinks that's the normal thing to do and that's just the way the industry is. The hope is that as JoJo Siwa's career progresses, she will continue to advocate for the well-being of young performers on screen and off of screen as well. At the end of the day, JoJo Siwa is still part of this team and does have dancers on tour. It's definitely a very tough industry to be a part of. That is something that can be observed in all of the documentation of JoJo Siwa's shows and mishaps, but there's definitely always room for improvement, and JoJo Siwa can definitely help drive that change. Exercise, good health. There was also a study that I actually left out the last video that we did on JoJo Siwa, and this time I've left the good stuff to the end. If you're here chilling with me right at the end for this bit, this is a unique study that I found where it states that children who recognize differences in rhythm and patterns and tap to a beat learn to read and spell more easily. How we feel about another person is conveyed by rhythm. Walkers synchronize their steps to aid communication. Snowball the cockatoo will dance along with you, but if you dance out of sync with the beat, he will turn away from you. Social encounters with rhythm influence our attitudes. The extent to which a person synchronizes with an environment affects the person's opinion of the likability of the experimenter. The extent to which a person synchronizes with the experimenter affects the person's opinion of the likability of the experimenter. University students were instructed to tap along to a metronome while an experimenter was also tapping their finger nearby. When the experimenter tapped at the same rate, the rating given in response to how likable was the experimenter was higher. So, just to recap, they do this experiment, they're asked to tap their finger, and if the experimenter tapped it at the same time as them, tapped their finger at the same time, the likability score that was given by the person who was being experimented on was higher. It's just a very interesting thing. But how does this apply to the development of dancing kids? Well, preschool-aged children were asked to perform a rhythm synchronization task, and they are able to perform better if they are drumming along with another human than opposed to an impersonal beat coming from a loudspeaker. Even in very young children, being literally in sync with another person engenders positive feelings towards them. It's very interesting. In one study, an experimenter bounced 14-month-old children along to music, either on the beat or intentionally off the beat. When the bouncing session was over, the baby was placed on the floor, and the experimenter deliberately dropped an object and acted out needing help to pick it up. The babies who were bounced on beat were much more likely to help the experimenter retrieve the object, having apparently formed a social bond via rhythm that prompted cooperation. The offbeat babies were less likely to help. rhythmic synchrony had led to interpersonal synchrony. And I think that's just a beautiful thing, just proving how rhythm connects us all. And I think that last part about the babies is extremely interesting. To recap, they had babies and they played a beat, and the ones that they were off beat with, the experimenter acted like they needed help to pick something up. When they were off beat, they were less likely to help him out. And that's crazy that rhythm can form social bond. I think that's beautiful. So what's the point in me telling you all that? It's to remind you to not let the frame of whatever's going on in context of JoJo Siwa as relation to dance and dance mums and pop groups and all this and etc. distract you from the fact that dancing, singing, creating music, being in rhythm, being in time, being on beat is a very important factor in our lives. It affects us from when we're very young all the way to when we're adults, literally making bonds with our own children. So keep that in mind. We're all connected through the music. JoJo Siwa's journey is definitely complex, and while she's been outspoken about all of the complications that she has tackled on her rise in the industry, there's definitely still work to be done when it comes to ensuring the health and well-being of child stars and young talent, and ensuring the well-being of the next generation of performers is safe and secure under the guidance of positive custodians of the art form, because at the end of the day, rhythm, movement, dancing, coordination, it helps us all. So don't let anything get in the way of what this stuff originally was. It's a stereotype to associate tortured mental health, addiction, and obnoxiousness with artistic people that create. I've been away from this channel for quite a while, and it led me to a conclusion. In order to continue making content on this channel, I had to take a lesson from JoJo Siwa in authenticity. JoJo Siwa is an internet phenomenon that has gripped the internet through dedication, hard work, and discipline in a multitude of creative forms, ranging from singing, dancing, and now even acting. The polymath JoJo Siwa is also known for teaching how to dance and producing content that has amassed billions of dollars. Whether you like it or not, it seems like JoJo Siwa is here to stay as a household name for another generation. But what made JoJo Siwa such a great name amongst the people who adore her? By which processes and systems did the billion-dollar JoJo Siwa empire come to fruition? And what is the impact that JoJo Siwa actually has on our lives, if any at all?
I've been being a bad girl for so long. I can't do it anymore. I decided I'm done being a bad girl because nobody can change me. Hear me out. Me right now. No, it isn't hopeless. I just need to focus on bringing back the best of me. Gotta get back to that girl. I really do. I really gotta take my own advice. Yeah. I'm sad. Yeah. Sometimes all it takes is for your house to be 1,000 feet within one of the most destructive wildfires. Mm-hmm. To have a come to Jesus moment. Totally. Yeah. I'll be fine. Anything else you want to say? Yeah. What? I don't actually like alcohol. You don't drink. My Tito's is water, and my Fireball is apple juice and Diet Coke to make it a color match.
Now, as we can see from those clips, JoJo Siwa seems to admit some things that I previously stated in the other videos we made about JoJo Siwa, where we saw that she was drinking alcohol on stage and was just saying, you know, that's probably not the best example to set, and that looks like it's fake. It's hard to down Fireball without sort of like having a visceral reaction to it. But after like putting this video off for so long, just thinking like, what am I doing with my life? Let's just look at JoJo Siwa in the most positive light that I can and actually try and learn from someone who's more successful than me, is more successful than me in music, performs bigger shows, makes more money, sells more merch, pretty much lives the life that, you know, little me would idealize a certain stage. And for someone to make it that far in a certain industry, I want to see, what does that take? And is there deserved adoration to be praised upon JoJo Siwa here for just being a consistent artist, actually just working consistently on making stuff for people and themselves and helping people even develop their inner child, which we're probably going to get into later on in this video. But man, that's it, really. I was like, okay, what does JoJo Siwa do for her audience? Like, what do her audience think about her? And what benefits are there from that? And how can we look at it in that way?
I thought you left the world.
Okay.
Because we did a documentary together.
Yep.
Called Child Star.
Yes.
And one of the things that you said in Child Star, which I had never heard you say to us, was that your addiction isn't drugs, it isn't sex, it isn't this.
Yep.
It is social media.
Yep. It's numbers.
And
analytics.
And I, in my head, when you disappeared, I was like, did she just self-correct herself really quick?
Kind of. I think subconsciously, actually, probably, because I'm not going to lie, for like the first 2 weeks of not posting, it was like detox withdrawals, like as like there was nights where I was sobbing, hyperventilating, being like, I'm not doing it, like what I'm you know what I mean? And so now that I'm in a really, really comfortable place with it. What's so interesting, and I don't think I told you about this, when I watched that documentary, I literally was like, okay, look, I'm the youngest one in it, right? And I was like, I'm not scared of, but I'm so curious as to how much more my brain will develop in the next few years and what other things I'm gonna realize. Because like seeing what you realize, seeing what Drew realized, like obviously my parents are a very different situation. Like I'm very blessed to have very good parents, but like, and I think that has a lot to do with child stardom and how it affects you as an adult. But I'm like, what am I gonna realize as I become a more grown adult? Yeah. Like after watching that documentary, I was like, ugh.
So that's an interesting excerpt from Raven and Miranda's podcast with JoJo Siwa. JoJo Siwa goes in to explain that her addiction wasn't money, it's not it's the numbers, and it's social media. Whereas for me, it's definitely it's that rock and roll lifestyle, baby. Sitting in my house and getting in my head. But yeah, in switching gears a lot between creative pursuits and then doing YouTube, it's like I've realized now that again, I have to do this YouTube thing or figure out a way to make it align with who I am, because it's just going to be one of those things that if I don't go through it, it's going to go through me. And I don't want YouTube to go through me. It's quite big and there's a lot of people.
Oh, I actually love this. Death. I actually love this. Let's cook.
I love
Why
it.
do you love death
Tell
so
us.
much?
Because I just did Tyler Henry. That might be a secret. It's fine. It's too late now.
Cool.
But yeah, and I got a lot of clarity that there is an afterlife. I don't know what that means, but I mean, one of the first things he said to us was so specific.
Now, if you know me, you know I probably couldn't resist talking about this. In fact, me being so authentic, I love anything to do with any type of afterlife, immortality, spirituality. I love all of it. That's who I am. And me making commentary videos, it was definitely an exercise in really shifting gears from my interests to just doing something consistently. On the topic of the afterlife, what did JoJo Siwa see or experience to make her believe definitively in an afterlife? That's not saying kind of not really. That's actually JoJo Siwa being like, wow, I actually believe in an afterlife. I think that's a very important shift that happens in people from not believing in anything that happens, or like being like, you know, we just sort of just have this and then it's a black screen. Where was I going with this? It's a very important shift that happens. I guess for me, the ultimate shift, it wasn't like a instant thing, but one of the key events or moments for me that made me definitively believe in an afterlife was probably when I had a near-death experience, or NDE. I saw something on the other side. I saw like a big bright white light. I could either believe that that's going to happen, because that is what happened, or I could just go about my life, me trying to be authentic. This is hard, but it's easier with the sunglasses.
I went in not really being a believer in mediums. Like, I didn't think it was a very real thing. I didn't know how to believe in it, whatever. I go in, and all of a sudden, he literally was like, I'm getting the name Joan and Mary. Does that mean anything to you? It's my grandma who's still on earth, as he's holding the item to my grandpa who passed away. Mary turns out to be my grandpa's little brother who also passed away, wife that's still on earth. Like, it was like, and then all of a sudden, my grandma came through, and he was like, immediately I'm hearing Kathy was her name. Like, it was like you could not make up what he was saying.
Now, I've recently seen a few things on my For You page, and it's great that I get to just yap about this kind of stuff that comes up on my YouTube. But I recently had Darren Brown. Don't know if you guys are aware of this guy. He's been around in the UK quite a bit. He's quite big on the old Netflix, so check him out. Like he needs my promo, yeah. But Darren Brown, pretty cool guy, but he basically did this, I think it was either a series or a short TV thing about fake mediums, about fake healers and all this type of stuff.
And then cold reading, which is the other one you mentioned, is, well, distinguished from hot reading. It's the techniques used by generally fake psychics, but also the sort of thing you'd read in astrology columns in magazines and so on, where you make it sound like you have some clever insight into somebody, and you're saying things that sound very specific to that person, but actually are things you're just throwing out, and you know that the person will pick up on the stuff that hits and, you know, matches their experience, will sort of ignore all the other stuff that doesn't. And there are any number of clever ways that people in that world use to make it seem like it really sounds like they've said something more specific than they have. So if you go and see a medium on stage, classically, you know, they'll say, I'm getting a name Jean, you know, and then you've got hands will go up. Now it could be that somebody in the audience is called Jean. It could be, well, my sister died and she was called Jean, or it could be, I know a Jean, or this, you know, so that could be anything. But as soon as someone says, oh, I know a Jean, oh, well, this is for them. Wow, how did you know I had a friend called Jean? Well, he didn't. You provided that information. And so on. So you're generally saying stuff when it's a conversation like that, and people provide you some little thing back, which you then take credit for, and this sort of conversation winds its way along. And if you're not skeptical, it can seem convincing on a good day. Hot reading is when you're using information that you've gleaned from a person. So very specific information that you're just feeding straight back. Well, a friend of mine was at a recording of a very famous TV medium in the States a good few years back. And it was when this sort of thing was starting to become popular. He was, I think, probably the first big name and doing that sort of thing. And he had a studio audience set up. And this friend of mine was sat in the audience, skeptical like I would be, but just there out of curiosity. So the guy comes out before they start filming.
This is the TV personality who's the medium.
This is the medium. This is the
Right.
medium. Comes out to talk to the audience before they start filming and says, obviously the audience is full of believers, apart from people like my friend, and says, is there anybody here hoping that someone's going to come through for them? So lots of hands go up. And he just goes around and talks to people and says, who have you lost? Oh, I lost a son. Okay, and what happened? Well, this happened, he drowned. And okay, can you tell me his name? Do you remember what he was wearing on the day? Just so that if he comes through, I'll know that it's him. So he gets all this information, and then the cameras start rolling, and he just goes out and feeds that straight back to the people. I'm getting this is a guy, and this is a young boy, he was 7, he drowned, he's wearing a red sweater, does anybody take this? And of course, the woman in the audience is in tears, and, you know, because she, so often with this thing, the reason why people don't want to believe it's fake is that the lie is so ugly that anybody would actually do that just to make themselves look good, and, you know, that it's easier to believe it must be real, or at least maybe they believe it themselves, or they're trying to do good, or that actually it's just so often just kind of ugly. So that's hot reading, whereas cold reading is the you have no information, but you're good at making it sound like you do. Those are my definitions.
No matter how old you are, if you're watching this, you have been a victim of hypnosis. The companies that serve us are detrimental to our health. The platform that monetize all of your attention have stolen your days. It's not the person, it's the systems and the mechanisms that choose to tie our emotional connections to products on a shelf. We all know the first and last names of all these celebrities like they're close to us. It creates familiarity, so we have something to latch onto. Because of our personal attachments, we give our full attention in silence, like we know the person on the other side. For decades, we bared witness to a variety of child stars being broadcast onto our screens. Often we hear stories about how these child stars grow up to be detached from reality, but what makes these stars so popular and marketable, especially in the unique case of JoJo Siwa? If not a lesson in character, let JoJo perhaps be a lesson in business, where her billion-dollar empire generated $400 million just by bow sales alone. But what is clear is that JoJo Siwa's brand has always been directed at children. And now we're seeing JoJo Siwa's brand promote drinking alcohol on stage, saying the F word, which is a stark contrast from the JoJo that we saw in the likes of Boomerang and Dance Mums.
I'm almost in this last year, I've become so unafraid of death. Like I don't want to visit it anytime soon, but I'm so comforted in knowing like there's something else there.
Yeah. Take that breath, because I agree. I believe there's something else there. I don't necessarily believe in a heaven and a hell.
Yeah.
I do believe, though, that we are energies. And when we lose the vessel in which our energies inhabit, the energies don't die, they move on. They help the spirits that are captured in these bodies move.
Yeah.
And then I do believe that the heaven and hell that other people have categorized, hell is if your soul can't leave this plane and it's kind of stuck here. Heaven is if you're able to integrate with all of the universe and move forward.
Okay, wait, do you ever think about this? So like just say each of our energies is this like little ball of whatever,
Light.
right?
Yeah.
Think about all the amounts of people that have passed away. Do you think like you're like trying to move through like this as your little
Hilarious.
light?
Like it's incredibly crowded.
Like, do you think it's like the afterlife is crowded?
No.
Or do you think you're like almost like alone but with your people that are on Earth?
Well, what I think is that the universe is infinite, so space is absolutely forever wide, and energy, when you think about even how much light exists around us on a daily basis that we can't see, how fast light travels, sound, all of these frequencies that literally the human is not tapped into or conscious of or
even understanding.
There is so much beyond. So I think for me, similar to what Raven was saying, I think once you're done in this vessel, that soul, that spark, that thing that makes you essentially returns. And it is just there.
I haven't listened to that bit before, but that was very, very interesting to get people's insights on what happens in the afterlife and how the spirit moves and continuously moves forward and is like a ball of stuff. Very cool. Very interesting. It's very nice to see the expansion of ideas. There isn't really much I have to add on to that at all, other than that other realm being like, you know, that sound, light, frequency is what I also believe to be close to the truth. I nearly got sidetracked. Freddie Mercury, if you didn't know, is JoJo Siwa's idol, and still teetering on that topic of death and the afterlife. I used to have one of those toy toothbrushes and it would play We Will Rock You whilst I was brushing my teeth. And actually when I was trying to make this video, I just randomly put on a white t-shirt and I looked down on it and it's got old Freddie singing. So I took that as another sign that I have to create this video. Call me mad, but it felt like this. I think that it's, you know, a beautiful thing that Freddie Mercury is JoJo Siwa's inspiration. I think for me that resonates a lot, and it opens my eyes into a lot of JoJo Siwa's creative choices that I might at first not understood. Probably a massive bit like Freddie Mercury. Now, I'm not saying JoJo Siwa is the next Freddie Mercury. I'm just saying honouring those that came before us, like that of Freddie Mercury, in the creative field or in any creative aspect, is something that we should do. I think we should keep the memory of those people that were disciplined in a craft alive.
You've always been very sort of flamboyant and theatrical and concerned with visuals and stuff with your shows.
I'm getting a bit sober in my old age. Huh?
Are you?
I think so, yeah.
What do you mean, just in terms of the way you dress?
No, dress has got nothing to do with it. No, in terms
On
of my
stage.
thinking, no, on stage I still dance around. You know. It's just my thinking, you know, I've become, it's like, I mean, I just can't, I look back at myself and think, oh my God, how could I have done that? You know, wearing black nail varnish and the long hair and wearing the makeup and wearing the kind of clothes. But I mean, everybody grows out of it, you know. I mean, that was when I was about 22 years old. I'm now 37. Still looking wonderful.
And interestingly enough, with those clips that I played at the beginning, it's kind of like Freddie Mercury has come in to sort of just say, you know, that happens. We grow out of certain things. We grow out of being a certain way and, you know, being extravagant and all this kind of stuff. Even sometimes we look at our past endeavors and think, oh, how could I have done that? Like, how could I have done that? But as he's saying, everybody grows out of it. And he was literally around about the same age, 20 or 22. That's just kind of where JoJo Siwa's at the moment. You know, the frontal lobe, it's developing. That's what everyone says.
To get together with Michael Jackson and work with him?
Well, it was just in the early days, well, I mean, like 3-4 years ago, I mean, he used to just come and see our shows at the Forum in LA. And I guess he liked us, and so I got to meet him, and he kept coming to see us, and then we started talking, and in those days I think he would actually go out. He'd go out and have dinner or something. I remember going to dinner with him, and I think now he just stays at home and doesn't like coming out at all. That's what, you know, that's what he says. I mean, he says, oh, whatever he wants he can get at home, because I mean, anything he wants he just buys it.
But have you talked to him about, I mean, just in terms of being an artist or in terms of a song?
Well, I mean,
to stay in the house like that kind of isolation, that's so scary.
I know, that's not me, but I mean, you know, that's his bag. And I wouldn't do that. I mean, I'll be bored to death. I mean, I have to go out every night. I mean, I hate staying in one room for too long anyway. I'd just like to keep moving. It's just an individual approach, you know. I don't know, I mean, I guess he's just, because he started when he was very young. So, I mean, when you think about it, when I'm talking to him, I think, my God, he's 25, I'm 37, yet he's been in the business almost longer than I have, because he started that young. And for me, it's sort of quite frightening when I'm talking to somebody who's 25 and you think somebody who was 22 or 25 has just been starting out or whatever, and I could sort of teach him a few tricks, but not Michael. I think one of the tracks would have been on the Thriller album if I'd finished it. But I missed out.
As you're aware, JoJo Siwa started in the industry at a very young age and had the hit Boomerang at 13 years old. So in comparison to a lot of people who are older, JoJo Siwa might have been in the industry for longer. I feel like JoJo Siwa's probably going to develop into being her own artist, and I think it'll be a very great thing to see.
How long did it take you to get to the point where you could manage your own business affairs? I mean, you have gone through a few managerial changes and problems.
Yes, well, that's how long it takes. I mean, I don't think anybody can manage straight away unless they're very lucky and unless they know. You've got to know the business, and the only way you get to know the business is to make mistakes and have pitfalls. And I think every major successful artist has gone through that. I refuse to believe that somebody's just had no problems at all and just managed to do it like that. I think that's all part of a history, all part of a band's history. They have to go through all that. You know, people get, you know, there are a lot of sharks around and you get done in, you know, people rob you blind money, but that's all part of it. And then you learn by mistakes, and then you know which people not to employ, and where you think, okay, you just have to take control of this situation yourself. And that's what we did. I mean, after a while, I mean, the managers were good, they were bad, they were good, or whatever. It just happened, there came a point in time where we thought, we can do this ourselves. Okay, it's a bit more work, but I mean, we've gained the experience and we can do it ourselves. Besides, we make more money anyway. You don't have to give a percentage to your manager.
No, I feel like a lot could actually be taken from that little excerpt there and actually still be applied to JoJo Siwa. Especially in regards to the business aspect, where JoJo Siwa isn't just JoJo Siwa. JoJo Siwa is actually JoJo Siwa TM, copyright, trademarked, billion-dollar empire with hundreds of employees across the globe. Think I'm making that up? I'm not. In an interview with JoJo Siwa's manager at the time, for Forbes, Karen Sterling states that Siwa has a global team that supports her and her brand. She said there are 500 Nickelodeon employees worldwide that support the JoJo brand. I can't be present in every business meeting because they're probably having 3 JoJo meetings right now. People in Hong Kong are probably having JoJo meetings. People in Australia are probably having JoJo meetings because it's such a huge franchise. I probably spend most of the time with JoJo toys. They are the biggest seller, followed by accessories, apparel, then bedding. Shoes are included in apparel, and Walmart just placed their biggest shoe buy ever. It was for over 1 million pairs of JoJo shoes. These are actually the words from Karen Sterling's LinkedIn, which state, Karen is celebrated as the visionary behind the JoJo Siwa billion-dollar empire and is recognized as a leading figure in licensing. Billion-dollar brand empire. We'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to that later on. She's someone that is truly kind to her fans. Meeting her in person in this intimate setting that I didn't ask for, to be clear, helped humanize her. She is not just a meme on the internet, but a real person. A 20-year-old girl trying to make her way in the industry and in a social media platform that's trying to eat her alive. And at the end of the day, it was all about just letting the experience be what it was and going along with it. It's all for the plot. I thought it would be hilarious to say JoJo was the one to teach me that choreography, and I stand by that. It will be a funny party trick to bring up. Hey, JoJo Siwa taught me the karma dance. You ever get a feeling that there's something missing? Something from your past? That little inner child that used to see these massive lorries parked on the side and just have that like little thought that like perhaps it could be Optimus Prime. I'm quite lucky. A large portion of me or who I was is stored on the internet. It's stored private on my YouTube channel, not this one, another one, but it's all there. It's all logged, starting from when I was about 13 maybe, because I got rid of my YouTube channel that I had when I was 10, 11, 12, unfortunately, and that's all gone, and I won't make that mistake again because I would love to see all those weird little Nerf War short films and Doctor Who parody sketches, but it's all gone, so I have to use my memory to remember that. Since a kid, I've always been trying to prove something by making stuff on YouTube. I don't know what it is. Maybe prove that I am me. Maybe it's a cry for attention. Maybe I'm just sad. But what I think I'm trying to say right now is I feel like that little kid, that little old me that started all those years ago would be proud of everything I've done up until this unique little chapter here. But I feel like at the same time that little kid who made Doctor Who sketches and parody videos and stuff, fan films, is that what they're called? You know, in his little room pretending that like a bunch of like smashed up computer circuits from the tip is some sort of alien technology. I feel like that little kid would look at some of these music videos I've made for songs and be like, yo, that's really cool. That's really cool there. Is that a massive like alien thing with lightning coming off it? How did you do that? Is that like a really cool mask lighting up thing? That's really cool. Did you make the soundtrack? Who's that talking? Cool man talking. And I'll be able to tell him that that's David Lynch. You don't know him yet, but you will do. And he will help you in some of the most formative years of your life. I feel like after explaining all of that to that little kid, like, yeah, let's make more. You've got everything you need. Generally speaking, the inner child is a part of the psyche that influences how adults experience emotions and interact with the world. When someone is in touch with their inner child, they feel curious and creative and excited about life. When the inner child is neglected, it's not uncommon to struggle with anxiety, perfectionism, self-criticism, and feeling stuck or disconnected, per the foundation of post-traumatic healing and complex trauma research. Over the past few months, I'd been struggling with burnout and noticed a big uptick in my self-critical tendencies and perfectionism. Basically, my inner child was in full tantrum mode, and JoJo Siwa was calling. There's nothing wrong with being a kid at heart, Siwa tells me, as we chat after the concerts. I think kids are actually inspiring with their imagination, and their ability to find the good, find the happy. When I woke up the next morning, the ship was once again docked on the Florida coast, and my vacation was officially over. As hard as I tried, I definitely did not heal my inner child in one weekend. My therapist tells me it actually takes a really long time, but neither did I fall into the self-critical ways of adulthood or feel disappointed. I wasn't more productive during the weekend. Instead, I was thrilled to simply reconnect with fun, which is probably what my inner child really wanted in the first place. I missed out on a very crucial point there. You're still that person. Every memory you have of your childhood can only be perceived from your experience of that memory, of that moment. And you won't be able to remember what happened next after that memory. Let's say you're at the zoo with your grandparents and you have a distinct memory of like walking along down this path with your grandparents. You don't remember what happened next. You just are that version of you whenever you think back to that memory. I've been trying to remember, try to get back to creating out of some sort of joy, and for a while I was sort of spiraling into thinking I was creating out of some kind of vitriol, and then this made making YouTube videos no longer viable for me. Like, I just, like I say to myself, I want to help people, I want to lift people up, and I think, like, making commentary videos, it's a very thin line to walk, so I don't really want to rush to report people's mistakes, because I'm a fuck-up. I make a ton of mistakes. I make loads of mistakes. I've made so many mistakes, and if I was to list off all of my mistakes, I would be here all day, all night, all year, maybe. And I just think to jump and to dip my reed against what I perceive to be transgressors of some sort of imaginary internet law, and not, give them the grace of the fact that we're all just people and we're all just growing. And there's always like an infinite amount of way you can argue any which point in any type of direction. But at the end of the day, the way the algorithm works is that conflict, some sort of conflict, that's what does well. So do I buck up my ideas and listen to Cat Williams, or do I just like remain on the other side when I could just suck it up and just talk about? It's actually a very beautiful and important lesson to note, and one that's helping me creating this for you guys right now. I think also that reaction from the fans, especially that one that's shouted "love you," it's like at the end of the day, JoJo Siwa resonates for some people, and I want to figure out what that is. And JoJo Siwa just listing off how resilience is a very important factor and how that has helped her traverse being a child star is something that I think a lot of people can learn from. Being given very practical advice for navigating life's hardships, I believe going into the creative pursuits like drumming and music, especially when you're feeling low, it feels like it just mends like certain places in your brain, like it just communicates to you in just that right way, where it feels like almost the music is healing you in a strange way, especially if you're creating it yourself, and also when you're listening to it. I think what JoJo Siwa had to say about being naive and understanding that right now in her position, she knows that she doesn't know a lot, and that's the sign of someone who's competent. And you have to be competent to a certain degree, I believe, to make it to the $1 billion empire JoJo Siwa level. And props for spreading the message of music. I think that's probably the most useful tool that JoJo Siwa can impart upon such a wide audience at the same time. I feel like it's a very good thing. That pursuit for that childlike happiness is just something that I'm trying to find, and I feel like a bunch of you guys watching this can definitely relate to that. In a sense where even if you're a fan of JoJo Siwa, that's probably why you are a fan of JoJo Siwa. If you're in those adult years, like, you try to rekindle that inner child. And that is probably why JoJo Siwa is so profitable. That's a very beautiful perspective that JoJo Siwa has on being a child star, not looking at it in a negative way, however still being honest about her part in creating these societal pressures. But it's not all her fault, As I keep repeating, JoJo Siwa is $1 billion business. We've now gotten JoJo Siwa's view on it, on how she's been used to market, in a sense, packaged positivity and joy and childlike joy, and the fact that she got to spread that instead of spreading more negative things and more quote-unquote serious things. I believe that that's a good thing. I feel like that's a good development and a much needed way of being able to look at your past and reframe it in a way where it's like, no, I was imparting joy on the people that encountered my stuff, and I wasn't just being forced to create a bad societal pressure.
So good. Take me back.
Oh, we miss the AdSense and
so much.
Oh yeah, let's talk money. Money's awesome.
Oh, money's the best.
Let's go in. We're hype on money.
We're in it already. We're in it already.
And I remember we were gonna record a video together, and obviously I was aware of your greatness.
Money is awesome. Again, I don't think there's like something inherently evil with money, but they do say the love of money is the root of all evil. I don't know who made that up. I don't know if we just randomly just say that. Money doesn't specifically mean you're a good or a bad person. I think the more money you have, the more it amplifies or augments who you already are. And by the looks of it, that's what we're seeing with JoJo Siwa. We're seeing like an amplified 10 billion X version of JoJo Siwa. The more authentic she gets, the more I'm just like, hey, this is, I get it. I get it now. But now we get to go into the business side of things and what wider impact JoJo Siwa actually has on society with this $1 billion empire.
Our good family friends, their daughters were like 6 and 9, and so they were like right in your demo at the time. And so when we were shooting the video, I said, JoJo, would you mind, and I feel awful and weird asking.
Yeah.
You made them a video, their heads exploded when they saw it. It was so amazing and generous. You gave them a bunch of swag.
Of course.
You told me a line about your merchandise that haunts me forever.
What did I say?
You said, I have merchandise on every continent except
Antarctica.
There's no Walmart in Antarctica.
Yep. We're on 6 out of 7.
That is such a power move.
Isn't that
so
crazy?
Good.
It's wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Congrats.
That's
awesome.
Thank you so
That's
much.
Awesome.
Fizzy drink brands have perhaps been the most successful at marketing to children, embedding themselves in pop culture and leading revolutionary cultural shifts. Singers, athletes, and influencers are in regular partnerships with soda or other unhealthy commodity brands, selling the idea of success, status, and ironically, health and performance to children and young people who are the main fans of these celebrities. Similar are corporate sponsorships of children's sports or community activities. Think Coca-Cola under the guise of corporate social responsibility. Some countries have made the efforts to limit marketing towards children, but industries are constantly devising ways around them and new markets to exploit. This puts children in low and middle income countries at especially high risk. One study found that McDonald's marketing team posted 154% more Instagram posts in LMICs than in high-income countries. 40% of posts offered a promotion or giveaway compared to only 14% in HICs. This is not a new tactic by health-harming industries. US litigation in the 1990s exposed some of the largest tobacco companies as specifically targeting developing countries in order to retain profits lost from growing restrictions in HICs. Alcohol and ultra-processed food companies have all followed suit, adopting this strategy from tobacco and aggressively advertising in low-income countries. And I guess taking all of that into account, putting yourself in JoJo Siwa's shoes, it's hard not to feel like you're being some kind of pretender.
Hey everyone, it's me, JoJo Siwa, and I am here with a little bit of news that is actually pretty big. Six Flags, Coca-Cola, and I have partnered on something pretty cool that is happening at Six Flags all across the country starting on August 15th. Now, I am so excited to tell you about it, but I can't just yet, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. We are going to end this summer with a bang by making some dreams come true.
Ken, what kind of Happy Meals do they have?
Shut
up.
What?
Wait, look, literally they have a JoJo Siwa Happy Meal since when?
There's no way.
Wait, it has a little bow too and sparkles. A JoJo with a bow.
There's no way they have a JoJo
Wait,
Siwa
I think we
Happy
should
Meal.
get one.
We totally should. What do you think it's gonna be in it?
I don't know. You can get the cheeseburger one.
Hey everyone, it's JoJo. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. You guys, today I am doing the 100 Happy Meal Challenge. Why I am doing this video, I don't know. I'm probably gonna get sick after I have to go to set early in the morning tomorrow. And I don't know, it's not a good idea. But hey, it's gonna be fun. Who doesn't love Happy Meals?
Most of the stuff I do is pretending. It's like acting, you know. So you go on stage and I pretend to be a macho man and all that.
And that's what I feel like we've got to remember at the end of the day. If we get caught up in all of this weird social media drama and we lose sight of, you know, what's important, and we lose sight of someone else's humanity just because they're a little bit cringe or whatever, we just got to realize that it's all a pretense anyway. We're all pretending. And if you don't make art or anything, we're all just wearing a little face or a mask or some black sunglasses to create that sort of character that we can operate in whatever selected field we've chosen to be into. And I think that's fine. I think that's part of being human, is creating good character. Doing that by picking a certain craft or a certain expertise to just really just go in and find yourself in any. I've linked to this study a few times, specifically in JoJo Siwa videos, because I think JoJo Siwa imparting some universal wisdom to all of us in her message is something that should be highlighted as a positive thing. So in this study, it literally tells us that how we're perceived by other people, whether that be good or bad, or having that slight intuition that someone's a bit off, it actually boils down to rhythm. And when we're a baby, we identify whose company we want to be in by whether they're in rhythm, whether they're in sync or not. I think JoJo Siwa being a bastion of all things rhythmic, whether that be drumming, dancing, singing, or making music, or just being a good person, and I feel like that is the core message at her brand. Just, you know, enjoying things, living life, being happy. And there's nothing I can shoot down about that. If you are a true JoJo Siwa hater, and you actually want to ignore JoJo Siwa, more power to you. JoJo Siwa has been thrusted into my life for the past year. Start making music or doing anything creative, because honestly, it's the most addictive thing ever. And I feel like that's the reason I probably find such a dissonance with just being on social media all the time, or on like certain platforms, or researching into YouTube topics. It's because I just like making music is that resonance. And that's genuinely, if I could be a bastion of something, it'll just be, let's start something creative. It doesn't have to be music, but music is the most fun. You can start making music now. You just start, and music's kind of like a playground where you can just jump in at any age, and it's okay. And you might be just saying, you know, slow down, man. You know, hey, these phones and these influencers, they're just too influential. And I can't stop. I can't stop being influenced. I can't stop watching JoJo Siwa, even if I tried. That's because there's a far bigger machine in place than you would think. Just researching JoJo Siwa business, I found one of the agencies that have worked with JoJo Siwa, they've given like this video about how they use other influencers to influence more people. But JoJo Siwa's success is not just due to her talent and charisma, she has also been able to leverage the power of influence and marketing to grow her brand and reach new audiences. Working with the Higher Influence Agency, JoJo has collaborated with other influencers to promote her merchandise and music, resulting in significant growth and engagement for her brand. So, who are Higher Influence, and what do they do? So here we have Higher Influence, influencer marketing services. We've got strategy development, influencer curation, influencer validation, influencer negotiation, influencer presentation, influencer contracting, payments, schedule control, content auditing, FTC compliance, paid media needs, and tailored analytics. Sounds pretty cool. Who have they worked with? So they've got an extensive portfolio of clients ranging from the NFL, Nickelodeon, Microsoft, McDonald's, Macy's, Krispy Kreme, Nerds, MTV, Hasbro, Honda, Entertainment, eBay, Coca-Cola, DC Comics, Burger King, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Higher Influence partnered with JoJo Siwa to launch a TikTok dance challenge to promote her new song, music video, and cross-category assortment. The campaign featured JoJo's new song as influencer parents danced along wearing JoJo merchandise and directing their audiences to join in. The fast-paced content was highly engaging and effectively promoted JoJo's new song and merchandise available at Walmart. So, where you might think that, oh, these trends, they're all dancing with the parents, they're dancing about JoJo Siwa, they're going to tell the other parents to dance and all this kind of stuff. Completely fabricated, curated by an agency that specializes in influencing the masses to buy Walmart and Burger King and McDonald's and 7-Eleven. Hasbro toys? Like, even these influencer agencies are utilizing families, children, to create fabricated trends to then influence other parents and whatnot to buy these ridiculous things. But it is so very interesting that, in a sense, there are child stars being used to maintain a billion-dollar empire that is JoJo Siwa. I'm sure that JoJo Siwa bows still sell, and I'm sure they still need marketing, even if JoJo Siwa's brand is something that we think is so left field. But as we can see, JoJo Siwa doesn't want to be a bad girl anymore. So we'll see what happens next. So it's just kind of an odd situation here. We've got this higher influence agency that basically uses families and their children to manufacture trends and moments for massive companies like McDonald's, who already generate up to, according to 2023's revenue report, $25.49 billion, and other companies like Coca-Cola, where sugary drinks are linked to things like heart disease, obesity, even damaging the immune system. It's just so insipid that these billion-dollar companies like to attack our child-like nature, and then they just jump in there. Just get us. They just get us. I was gonna do a final section about horror stories to do with what happens as growing up as a child star and all that type of stuff, but making this video and recording it, it's made me realize whilst recording actually that I think JoJo Siwa was going to be alright, and I wish her the best of luck with everything. Thank you for helping more people find their inner child. And on that note, I've been Murray Zani, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
So I know to you that routine is very important. Does it help creativity? And what is your routine?
My routine is I like to eat the same thing every day. I like to pretty much do the kind of living part of the day the same. But the difference is what I'm working on. So that's where all the different things come in. And I believe if you eat the same thing, wear the same thing, do the same things, then you have time to think about the work. So that's how it kind of goes. In the morning, I have a cup of coffee, and then I meditate, and then I get to work.